or would have had. Cano had a chance to win it in the end, missing a 50-yard field goal after he made one on a Denver timeout. It's a lonely life for the kicker when you miss. Broncos go on for the win, 21-20. Oregon football team in action at Austin again tomorrow. They take on the mysterious Virginia Cavaliers with former OSU linebacker and BYU coach Bronco Mendenhall. Our coach, Mark Helfrich.
We're certainly going to talk about certain aspects of the opponent, schematically, all those things. But so much of this is us. And I know Virginia was saying the exact same thing. Richmond's a really good football team, extremely talented football team. Several transfers as well as guys that they recruited and are very good. And then Virginia turned the ball over and they took advantage of it.
Of course, Virginia lost last week to Virginia. Game time, 7:30 on ESPN. By the way, a Duck of the Future, 6'4", 195-pound Colson Yankoff out of Coeur d'Alene in Idaho. Last game, 434 yards through the air, 4 touchdowns, and 4 on the ground. He's still more than a year away from signing a national letter of intent. Former basketball players Brandon Austin, Dominic Artis, and Damian Dotson had their lawsuits against the U of O dismissed. All 3 are expected to refile. And soccer legend Landon Donovan coming out of retirement and will become a member of the LA Galaxy, his old team. The MLS MVP trophy is named after the 34-year-old. Wouldn't that be a kick if he was to win it next year? Wake Up Call Sports brought to you by Max Muscle. Stop in and check out the new flavors of Max Pro Protein Powder, like orange and cookies and cream. Max Muscle in Eugene across Franklin for market of choice. News time, 6:22.
KPNW weather brought to you by Ramjack West. Do you have foundation problems? Ramjack can fix that. Get your free quote at ramjackwest.com.
Good morning. We've currently got mostly clear skies out there. A little bit of light patchy fog, but I expect that to burn off by about 10 a.m. Temps right now are on the cooler side, in the mid-40s to a couple of low 50s. Light winds out of the northwest at 5 to 10. We are tracking a couple of storm systems, but they don't have a chance to reach us until Saturday night into Sunday, and even then, all they're going to do is help knock the temps down. Now, this afternoon in the short term, high pressure looks to dominate over the Pacific Northwest, and that means temps are going to climb. We're looking at the mid to low 80s in most locations, around 82 here. In the afternoon, winds are going to pick up, though, to provide at least some relief out of the north at 10 to 20, with a few gusts up to 25. As I mentioned, that next system looks to move in late Saturday night into Sunday. Could bring a few sprinkles, but definitely knocks the temp down by 10 full degrees on your Sunday. So Saturday's the warm and sunny day. Sunday, a little bit of cloud, maybe a few sprinkles, and about 10 or 12 degrees cooler. I'm Chief Meteorologist Chris Nation, NBC 16 Weather Center, hoping you have a fantastic Friday and a great weekend.
When you need foundation repairs, turn to the foundation experts at Ramjack West. Get your free in-home evaluation at ramjackwest.com. Serving Oregon and Washington. Choose Ramjack. CCB 146906.
If you're going to snack, why not snack the healthy way? Max Muscle has a new snack aisle filled with healthy options like protein bars, protein muffins, chips, jerky. We even have protein pancake mix. Stop in and start snacking. Max Muscle, Franklin Boulevard, across from the Market of Choice.
Teresa Carrier from Carrier RV Service in Eugene talks about RV repair and maintenance.
It's that time of the year when people are on the road in their RV and something goes wrong, whether it's air conditioning related or maybe your refrigerator stops working. Water leaks, roof maintenance, Carrier RV Center can get you back on the road safe and sound.
Carrier RV Service and Repair is all about satisfied customers.
We're at Highway 99 and Airport Road, the second driveway on the right.
CarrierRV.com.
How do you improve upon a legend? First, you make it come standard with sports seats to put you in position to carve every corner. You give it an 8-speed Steptronic transmission with paddle shifters, standard. And you make it near perfectly balanced to give you even more control of the road. But if you want to know how to catch up to a legend, sorry, can't help. The BMW 3 Series. BMW, the ultimate driving machine.
Financing and leasing available by BMW Financial Services. Visit BMW of Eugene. Also online at bmwofeugene.com.
Plan your escape to Bend and make River House on the Deschutes your home base for Central Oregon adventure. Completely renovated inside and out. River House on the Deschutes offers spacious rooms with picturesque views of the Deschutes River, melding Northwest style with a fresh contemporary sensibility. River House on the Deschutes is minutes from downtown Bend. Conveniently close to Bend's numerous retail districts and breweries, and a short drive from hiking, biking, and recreational fun in the Cascade Mountains. And the day at our hotel by sitting on the patio enjoying food and friends, relax in our swimming pools, or dine at Currents, a riverside dining experience offering innovative Northwest cuisine. Visit riverhouse.com and use promo code RADIO. Book in advance for late summer and fall and save 20% off Riverview rooms. Don't forget to use the promo code RADIO. Some restrictions apply, not valid with any other offers. To learn more, visit riverhouse.com.
Man, do I love card night. You ready, boys? You got a king?
Go, fish dad!
Oh, come on! This is WWE superstar Titus O'Neil. The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today. Learn more at 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov.
Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Do you have 30 minutes a week to make a difference in the life of a Eugene middle school student? Middle school can be challenging. Some students feel isolated. Many students come from low-income families, making it harder to fit in at school. You can make a difference. Be a part of the Eugene Middle School Lunchtime Mentor Program this school year. Visit 4j.lane.edu/volunteers for more information. Kids are waiting.
The Bloomberg Market Report, sponsored by Pacific Continental Bank, serving your business and community in Eugene for over 40 years.
This is a Bloomberg Market Minute. Stock index futures are declining with the S&P 500 poised to erase a meager weekly advance. We're seeing crude oil retreat this morning while investors find little incentive to push stocks above levels near all-time highs. S&P futures right now down 12 points, NASDAQ futures down 26, and Dow futures are down 102. NYMEX crude oil now lower by 2.3% at $46.55 a barrel. Shares slipped from near record levels yesterday after European Central Bank President Mario Draghi downplayed the need for more stimulus measures to bolster growth. The opening bells on Wall Street today will be preceded by moments of silence to mark this weekend's 15th anniversary of 9/11. The New York Stock Exchange welcomed 9/11 National Day of Service during the opening bell, and at the NASDAQ, Tuesday's Children, a response and recovery organization that supports young families and communities impacted by terrorism, will ring that opening bell. Gina Cervetti, Bloomberg Radio.
Holloway in London.
Why are you torturing me?
On News Radio 1120 KPNW.
(1120) KPNW. Wake up call at 6:28. By the way, just thinking, if you are checking out the stream, because every once in a while we get email, and I got one after the show one time of somebody overseas checking out the show. So if that's you now, maybe send us a little message what your situation is and where you're at. If you go kpnw.com, you can check out the exciting and riveting, and it's amazing when it's not up. People are like, "Hey, you gotta," and it's like two middle-aged fat guys sitting in a cool studio with much,
I got dressed patriotic today just for this. If you want to know what I'm talking about, you're going to have to log onto the stream.
All right, so don't blow it. Right? That's what you're saying? Let's talk about Highway 58, milepost 10. Highway 58, 6 miles east of Pleasant Hill, we got a crash. Looks like it's not one that's going to be going away like in minutes, but hopefully it's kind of in the healing process, in the clearing stages. If you should see that and it looks good, again, milepost 10, 6 miles east of Pleasant Hill. I'm trying to think and gauge where that would be about. I would think somewhere close to the Lowell turnoff, but I could be wrong. So just be advised, both directions, I'm sure, since it's kind of a little bit narrow, could be affected with emergency vehicles headed that direction. Speaking of which, we are talking to a PTSD expert about 9/11. It is really peculiar when we get close, maybe 2 weeks out, I start thinking about 9/11, September 11th, and I go through a kind of a whole gamut of things like, okay, what has not been talked about? What needs to be talked about? What can be talked about? I think there's so many things that get used as promotional items, and I think 9/11 is one of them. That should not be used. It is still, I mean, it's been 15 years. It still feels pretty, that wound, at least for me, has not hardened. It's pretty fresh. And I think for some people out there, especially if you maybe were in the military or maybe had some kind of traumatic experience yourself, or maybe you just, did like a lot of us and just kind of sat there paralyzed in front of the TV for probably 2 to 3 days. I mean, there was one part of that day, I finally had to get up and just walk outside and get some fresh air because I realized I had been watching nonstop news for several hours. Oh, do you remember where you were that day?
Yeah, it was my first night on the air, full time at a radio station in State College.
So what, 9/10 or 9/11?
9/11.
So during that day.
So that morning I actually got up and, had to run to the grocery store to get some food and heard the morning show folks talking about, planes in New York and, of course, being in the middle of, Pennsylvania, quite a distance from where the other, plane ended up going down, but still within the Northeast corridor.
Yeah.
Got home, turned on the TV, and it's like, well, picked a heck of a day to start, but it's one of those where we were doing, hourly news updates at the top of the hour through like 7 o'clock that night. The news department was very busy that entire like 2 weeks after. But life pretty much there and anywhere just kind of had to go on because they were, getting ready for, everything else that was that was coming up too as far as football season and that. But it's like, obviously it's something that you won't forget, and watching those buildings come down, just, it's like you're watching a movie or something.
It is. It was
very
so surreal. And
very surreal.
You couldn't
Very
even
surreal.
really, I mean, as an adult, you're sitting there going, you're trying to process it, but it's impossible. Yeah. Literally impossible. I was asleep. I'm trying to think what, I might have been in between gigs.
Where were you?
In New Orleans, in the apartment, and I'm awakened by my significant other's grandmother. At the time, they had the voicemail recording machines where
answering machine.
Yeah, if you thank you. Well, you could hear the call, and I hear her at the top of her lungs saying that New Orleans is being bombed, that downtown is being bombed. She was across the lake, so she's about an hour away, and she was saying, "Get out of New Orleans now! Get out!" And I wake up and I'm like, "What is she talking about?" So I turn on the television to find out what she's talking about, where they have, nonstop coverage, and you see, okay, yeah, something did happen, but it's in New York City. What she had been told, her husband, who had since passed away, was a riverboat captain and had been a party to some pretty, some pretty heady stuff as far as New Orleans being a target. As far as, hey, if we start, if things go gunny and we are under attack, New Orleans is at the top of the list. So I don't know if I never could understand whether she thought that she had seen the bridge in New Orleans being bombed, or she just misinterpreted or just assumed. But it was definitely a very sobering way to wake up and think that we in New Orleans were under attack. And then, of course, you see, the other attacks and there's really no other way to really talk about it except, it was surreal. And you see, to this day, people are still extremely sensitive about it. 15 years. They say time heals all wounds. Yeah, maybe, it kind of hardens the scab a little bit, but people are still, this is something that you don't talk about in a joke way or as a promotion. And you see things like, I saw there was a Walmart in Florida
I saw that this
that
morning.
is using Coke cans and Coke packages,
cases,
the box, to simulate the towers. Huh? Really? I think there are things, and Bill and I have this discussion all the time as far as things that you use as a marketing tool.
That should not be a marketing tool at all.
And that should be 101. We shouldn't even have this conversation.
Not even on the list.
It shouldn't. Yeah, it should not
Honor
even
it
be
for what it is, and have it as a day of remembrance, and not it's not something you need to promote. So I mean, it's
something to talk about, and definitely not to forget. And we've got a couple of conversations coming up this morning about that, and it's definitely something to think about, and hopefully it's made us stronger, smarter. I think the jury is still out. I think if you're looking at 15 years of development, I don't think we really achieved that goal.
Well, I mean, I think a lot of us remember it and aren't to the point where we're going to reflect on it just yet. So it's that fine line between the two of remembering and reflecting on it.
1120 KPNW at gmail.com if you've got a certain situation that happened to you or somebody that you know of, and maybe you want to share it in an email, 1120 KPNW at gmail.com. You sit afterwards and you hear stories of the first responders, and you're thinking about nobody probably ever expected something of that magnitude, and yet you see them putting on their hat, whatever it was, whether they were a cop or a fireman or a paramedic, and they're running into that building, throwing caution to the wind and thoughts about their own family and situation, and running in there. Pretty amazing stuff, and a lot of them didn't make it out. I mean, you think about over 3,000 people through the 3 events. Just horrific. And it's hopefully more, since we've had a little bit of distance, hopefully we've been able to put at least some words to, except just surreal and some of the limited words that we had that day. One thing that I don't know about where you were or anybody was, but I know in New Orleans, we were actually in Metairie, which is a suburb, and the togetherness, the unity that you saw, I would say maybe 2 to 3 days. I mean, it wasn't a big window. I mean, a week, maybe a week, but after that, it was kind of back to normal. But for that little period, that window, there was like a big national hug, and that was beautiful to watch. Hopefully, you went out to, one of the vigils or the not the celebrations, but the unifying events, because that was beautiful to see. It was pretty amazing. All right, 6:38, beautiful sunrise on this September 9th. Don't forget, Highway 58, milepost 10, we got that situation 6 miles east of Pleasant Hill. If you're coming in or going out, just be ready for it. Got a crash there. It's a wake-up call, KPNW.
And now for the main event. It's the next generation of from Umquaderi. It's red, it's retro, and it's now showing in a store near you. Now it's time to deliver a fresh new look. The package may have a new look on the outside, but it still contains the high-quality, creamy goodness on the inside. Remember, Umpqua ice cream is always a G-O-O-D good idea.
The Vietnam Veterans Memorial Moving Wall is coming to Eugene Skinner Butte Park September 29th through October 2nd. This one-half-size replica will be on display for 4 days only along the Riverwalk. The opening ceremonies begin at 12 noon on Thursday, September 29th, featuring local dignitaries, Color Guard, Honors Team, the Oregon National Guard Marching Band, and a flyover from the Oregon Air National Guard. Come experience the Moving Wall beginning September 29th, presented by the Eugene chapter of the Military Officers Association of America.
If you're living with chronic pain, Neurospine Institute can help you get your life back. Services include clinical and surgical procedures, sports medicine, physical therapy, medical imaging, and pain management. Visit neurospinellc.com today and tune into KPNW every morning at 8 for the Neurospine Tip of the Week.
Confessions of a Potentially Perfect Parent, brought to you by AdoptUsKids.org.
I might look like an adult, like a person who could possibly be a parent, but I have no idea how to talk like one. And everyone knows that if you want to be a parent, you have to sound good when you say things like, "Don't make me turn this car around," or "Because I said so," or "Don't make me come back there." I don't even really know what those things mean, but I know that I actually believed my parents when they said them to me. How did they manage to sound so convincing? Here we go. "Don't make me come back there." Ugh, no, that's not tough enough at all. Kids can sense weakness. "Don't make me come back there." Ooh, yeah, that's better. In fact, that kind of sounded like my dad. Weird.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of teens in foster care who would love to listen to you practice your dad voice. Call 1-888-200-4005 or visit AdoptUsKids.org for more information. This message brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt Us Kids, and the Ad Council.
Do you know the score regarding your personal finances? Your credit score, that is. The National Foundation for Credit Counseling wants you to get in the game, know your credit score, and understand how to improve it. The NFCC can help request your credit report and explain what the numbers, terms, and abbreviations all mean. Their certified counselors can also advise you on sound financial practices that can help improve your score. For more information about credit reports, call the NFCC at 1-800-388-2227. This has been a public service message from the NFCC.
Last year, over 15,000 children in Lane County spent at least one night in foster care. CASA of Lane County provides a powerful voice for these children by training community members to advocate on their behalf in court. These court-appointed special advocates serve as the eyes and ears of the judge to facilitate the child's movement through the foster care system into safe and permanent homes as quickly as possible. If you are interested in becoming a CASA, please call 541-984-3132 or visit casa-lane.org.
KPNW weather, brought to you by Ramjack West. Do you have foundation problems? Ramjack can fix that. Get your free quote at ramjackwest.com.
Good morning to you and yours. If you're headed out that door in the next few minutes or you're already out and about, we do have mostly clear skies. There is some light hazy fog off and on out there. Temps right now on the cooler side in the upper 40s to low 50s with light winds out of the northwest at 5 to 10. This afternoon, high pressure looks to dominate across the region. That means mostly sunny skies. The light haze will burn off by about 10 a.m. This afternoon, temps are going to climb again, and in the mid to low 80s, going up another few degrees from yesterday. About 82 here in town. Winds will pick up in the afternoon due to a tight pressure gradient at 10 to 20 with a few gusts up to 25. The sunny, warm weather looks to last right into the weekend before the next weak cold front and mild storm system pushes in Saturday night into your Sunday morning. I'm Chief Meteorologist Chris Nation, the NBC 16 Weather Center, hoping you have a fantastic day.
More than 7.7 million American teenagers participate in high school sports every year, including about 101,000 here in Oregon. They're all learning essential life lessons, like the importance of hard work, time management, and self-discipline. Skills that are helping them become better leaders and more active, responsible citizens. This message presented by the Oregon School Activities Association and the Oregon Athletic Directors Association.
Do you dance badly or hug in public? That's okay. You don't have to be perfect to be the perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care would love to put up with you. Call 1-888-200-4005 or visit AdoptUsKids.org for more information. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt Us Kids, and the Ad Council.
Deep within the Pest Quest training laboratories.
Stinging insects send over 500,000 people to the hospital every year. I don't like hospitals. Rodents, like mice, contaminate food and transmit disease. Cockroaches spread 33 kinds of bacteria, 6 parasitic worms, and can trigger asthma. That can't be good.
Pests are anything but child's play. Protect your little scientist by getting the facts at pestworld.org.
A public service message from the National Pest Management Association.
When I have an asthma attack, I feel scared. I feel like I'm choking.
Prevent your child's next asthma attack. Visit www.noattacks.org or call your doctor, because even one attack is one too many.
I feel like a fish with no water.
Brought to you by the EPA and the Ad Council.
A standard electric water heater heats water. A heat pump water heater heats water. A standard electric water heater is built to last. A heat pump water heater is built to last. A standard electric water heater uses energy. A heat pump water heater uses up to 50% less energy. making it a 100% smart choice for your home.
Get more info about saving up to 50% on your electric water heating costs at hotwatersolutionsnw.org.
Hey, there's my son.
Hey, Dad.
What's wrong with your voice?
There is nothing wrong with my voice.
Well, it's just sort of.
Hello, Dad.
Susan? Guys, I think it's about time to get in the car and maybe see some green things.
What are these green things you speak of?
This weekend, unplug. Getting closer to nature can get you closer to your family. To find the forest nearest you, go to discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Hello there, and welcome to the exciting world of
Holloway in London and the Wake Up Call. News Radio 1120, KPNW.
645, News Radio 1120, KPNW. Just a reminder, the situation out there, Highway 58, we got a crash. Not the way you want to start out the day, but we have one nonetheless. Milepost 10, 6 miles east of Pleasant Hill. If you're coming in on 5-8, be advised. All right, we have a PTSD expert, Shannon Walker, joining us. She also does extensive work with veterans. And before we talk about 9/11, Shannon, first, welcome to the show. Do you want to talk about your organization that you help out with the veterans, please?
Yeah, good morning. I founded and am the president of our nonprofit, Northwest Battle Buddies. We can be found at northwestbattlebuddies.org. We provide service dogs to combat veterans who have PTSD at absolutely no charge to the veteran. Each dog goes through about 350 hours of training, and the veteran goes through about 2 months at the end of that training with us. And then we gift these dogs to our American heroes 100%.
If people want to donate and kind of jump on board and help you out, what's the actual best way to do that?
You know, if they go to northwestbattlebuddies.org, they can donate. They can also go to our Facebook page and get us. It's important to know that all of our funds is private donations. We don't get any government funding. The dogs cost about $25,000 to us, but again, they are gifted 100% free to the veterans, and they truly are life-changing. In 4 years, we have provided 32 dogs to our American heroes. We have 1 paid staff. Everybody else is volunteer at this point.
Wow. And what's the website again?
NorthwestBattleBuddies.org, and it's all spelled out.
Battle Buddies. Okay. Thank you for doing that. That's amazing. That's good stuff.
Thank you.
You know, for the average person out there, I think sometimes we throw out PTSD and we don't really, the average person doesn't really know what that is and what it does. Can you kind of get us caught up?
Absolutely. You know, there's a documentary out about it called Buried Above Ground, and I think that it states it so well because, you know, when somebody has PTSD and they have invisible wounds of war that our combat veterans have, you know, in their example, our combat veterans have, you know, had such trauma that they are experiencing it. You know, they live a life, you know, one of the main things that somebody with PTSD does is they live a life of isolation. They are constantly reliving a nightmare that they experienced, and it affects their everyday after the fact. And it's about learning how to overcome that. But, you know, when, you know, a lot of our veterans that we work with, you know, one of the main symptoms is isolation. I mean, they don't go out and shop unless it's 3 a.m. in the morning because they just can't cope. And that's, you know, there's that study from 9/11 about cognitive impairment, you know, from the first responders they are experiencing, you know, residual trauma from their experience in the devastation of the towers and dealing with the bodies and the environmental trauma that they experienced. And the PTSD, not only does it affect their relationships, does it affect their ability to cope with the public and the isolation, but also they're trying to find a way to self-medicate. And that's one thing that these service dogs make such a huge difference in, is the fact that it brings them forward to a life of healing in dealing with the public on a daily basis, learning how to interact. Because people will do for their dogs what they won't do for themselves, and they have to take the dogs out, especially through our training processes. You know, often we're in the malls, even at Christmas time, and they learn to cope, they learn to overcome, and they get trained in a way. And they're not alone. They're also surrounded by veterans who have experienced a lot of the same thing. And so they're with their brothers and sisters in arms that that understand truly from a ground level of what they're dealing with.
You mentioned the study about the first responders. Who did it, and what did they find?
You know what? I honestly don't remember exactly who did it, but what they did find is that years later, after 9/11, the first responders are experiencing cognitive impairment, which is, I'm not a doctor, but in layman's terms, it's memory loss. It's a difficulty to cope and make sound decisions. And one of the things I experience with our veterans who not only have PTSD but traumatic brain injury, it's the same thing. Environmentally, if things are hectic, the hustle and bustle, there's too much for them to have to feel like they control. So there's a residual effect from our first responders who are civilians, and it's very similar to what our combat veterans face in combat. It's very, very similar, as well as the PTSD.
I think about a conversation I had with a friend who was a cop in New Orleans, and I'm very much sure now that he had PTSD, but didn't recognize it, didn't want to do anything about it. And in fact, his wife was always trying to tug and, for him to get some kind of, and you say treatment, and then I think that kind of maybe puts a stigma on it, but to get help and support. For the average person out there, are they we won't even ask if the resources are out there, but are they even recognizing that they have a situation that needs to be at least acknowledged?
In my experience, I think that the family members and the loved ones actually sometimes experience it, or they might recognize it more than the person that actually has the PTSD. And for us, for sure, the wives and the mothers and the daughters and the children have reached out to our organization to find help for their family member who they see that are hurting. And often it's the family member that reaches out and gets all the information and encourages them and holds their hand all the way through the beginning of the process of training with their dog. And if it wasn't for their family members reaching out and bringing them in, they would still be alone and still not have the help that organizations such as ours brings.
Shannon, in your situation, is PTSD something that you can absolutely cure, or is it something that you just treat and deal with?
I don't think you can cure it, because it's my experience that with what our, not only the first responders, but especially the people that I deal with, our combat veterans, they are forever changed, sometimes metabolically, sometimes physically, but definitely, they call PTSD, they're dealing with invisible wounds of war. It's an invisible trauma, and they are different. And so they may not be the same person that they were prior to, as an example, going into the service and going into combat. However, that courage is still there. The courage that they had to sign on that dotted line and say, you know what, I am going to say yes to whatever I'm asked. My boys serve in the military also. I'm a single mom of twins. They're in the Army and Marines. And when I got to observe them signing up and going through the MEPS process and going into the service, I was overwhelmed at the courage that the men and women that I was surrounded by had to offer such a gift of their life to serve. And when we deal with veterans that come and now are asking for help, that courage is still there. We're just providing an avenue of a service dog and a different way of life for them to have a new life and overcome and have a life of freedom and independence, whereas before they were isolated, they felt alone, they felt like a failure. And the fact is that they're courageous men and women. They are heroes, and we provide a way for them to overcome. It's a vehicle, and it's incredibly life changing, and it's an honor to work with them. It truly is a humbling experience.
Shannon, you sound like you have a big heart, and we definitely want you to thank your sons for their service and their sacrifice. That's amazing.
Thank you very much.
All right, Shannon Walker on with the Wake Up Call, and it's amazing what she said it right there. She was talking about how some will do for their dogs what they won't do for themselves, and I think that's probably the case for a lot of people out there. And the whole idea of admitting that you need help or you need support, once people can kind of get over that, and granted, you're talking in a conversation with a lot of people like myself who don't have military experience, that are just wanting to help, wanting to do something, And sometimes maybe they go about it the wrong way. Sometimes maybe we try to put our heart out there and want good intentions, and really we don't know ultimately what they need or what they need at that moment. So if you can, communicate and even kind of give them hints, let us kind of know what you need at that point, it can be a team effort. Scary situation. All right. Sunshine today and 86 degrees. Got a warm couple of days and then kind of back, if he calls it a cold front. Things chilling out to 77 degrees on Sunday. Still pretty balmy, if you ask me. We got 48 degrees and a beautiful start to a Friday. Hour number 2 coming up on 1120 KPNW.
It's Spa-Tember at Three Rivers Casino. And we've got all the hot and bubbly giveaways you are dreaming of. That's right, we are giving away 11 DuraSport Cypress Spas valued at $2,249. Earn entry September 1st through the 30th in Florence and Coos Bay. Drawings will be held in Florence September 18th and 25th from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. and September 30th from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Visit threeriverscasino.com for details. Then, attention all music lovers, Ziggy Stardust will be playing his guitar once again at Three Rivers Casino Resort in Florence. That's right, this September 16th and 17th, we will host the phenomenal tribute performance Space Oddity featuring David Brighton as David Bowie. Tickets start at just $14.99. Reserve your seats now by visiting threeriverscasino.com and experience the genius of David Bowie once again. Relax in luxury and relive the best of Bowie at Three Rivers Casino Resort, because things are luckier here.
The RV Corral has the best selection of #1 selling motorhomes. Allegro by Tiffin, Winnebago, Sunseeker, Dynamax, and Fleetwood. Come by and check out RV Corral's full line of motorhomes. Your camping fun starts with the RV Corral a mile south of the Beltline on Highway 99.
I'm Gary Conley with today's Money Minute. Recently, I reported that by printing money and orchestrating low interest rates, the Federal Reserve is sacrificing middle-class savers in favor of wealthy investors, Wall Street, and the banks. In a recent interview, Fed Vice Chairman Stanley Fischer admitted as much. Fisher's trade-off, protecting investors at the expense of middle-class savers, is extremely politically incorrect. And for all the lip service about inequality, the Fed's actions are making it worse. That's because most people don't have investments in the traditional sense. They have a house, savings, and some equity in a retirement plan, if they're lucky. The retirement plan, regardless of what the money's invested in, is actually savings, because when they do retire, they will need it to produce a reliable income. By creating a world of low or no interest rates, the age of no return, savers are forced into becoming novice investors as they try desperately to make any return at all. Here's the nugget. Keep in mind that a saver is someone who wants no risk, while an investor is willing to shoulder some for the possibility of making gains. The lower rates go, the more risk former savers are forced to take in hopes of getting a return on their money. If more people understood what's actually happening and why, they would be very angry as well as very anxious. I'm Gary Conley, and that's today's Money Minute.
The Bloomberg Market Report, sponsored by Pacific Continental Bank, serving your business and community in Eugene for over 40 years.
This is a Bloomberg Market Minute. Stocks are lower in early trading, headed toward their biggest drop in 2 months, erasing a weekly advance after a Fed official signaled more willingness to raise interest rates. The Dow is down 137 points at 18,342. The S&P 500 is lower by almost 18, or 0.8% at 2163. And the Nasdaq is down 38 at 5221. NYMEX crude oil also lower this morning, down almost 2% at $46.73 a barrel. Fed Bank of Boston President Eric Rosengren warns that waiting too long to raise rates threatens to overheat the U.S. economy and could risk financial stability. The S&P 500 has not posted a gain or loss of at least 1% since July 8th, a streak of 43 straight days. And moments of silence preceded the opening bells today, which were rung by members of 9/11 service organizations ahead of Sunday's 15th anniversary of the terrorist attacks. Gina Cervetti, Bloomberg Radio.
Fox News, fair and balanced. We report, you decide. on News Radio 1120 KPNW Eugene Springfield.
Fox News Radio, I'm Lisa Brady. The first of many 9/11 events held this morning near the Pentagon-shaped memorial in D.C.'s Prince William County.
15 years ago this Sunday, our world changed forever.
U.S. Attorney General Loretta Lynch at a Justice Department ceremony. President Obama will speak at the Pentagon on Sunday. He just returned overnight from 2 summits in Asia, getting an unexpected briefing on Air Force One after North Korea's latest nuclear test. Fox Radio's Alistair Wanklin is live in Vientiane.
Lisa, the blast was thought to be the strongest yet. North Korea testing a 5th nuclear device in defiance of United Nations demands and earning condemnation. Even from allied China, Russia too expressing concern. The UN Security Council will meet today. The timing of this test seemed a snub to President Obama only hours after he left Asia to head home. But today is also a national holiday in North Korea. And after recent missile tests, North Korea apparently trying to show it can fit a warhead on a rocket. Lisa.
Alistair, thanks. Time's running out for Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump to change any minds. Early voting starts today in North Carolina.
He actually is taking the case to Hillary Clinton in a way that you see the polls tightening. You see that he's doing policy speeches. He's the best messenger out there.
Trump campaign manager Kellyanne Conway, a day after Hillary Clinton dismissed Trump's new advisors.
Trying to make him look more presidential and sound more serious. Not working too well.
New Quinnipiac battleground polls show a dead heat in Florida, a Trump edge in Ohio, and a Clinton lead close to the margin of error in North Carolina and Pennsylvania. Late word that Michigan's straight party voting ban won't take effect, the U.S. Supreme Court declining to intervene. Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
When you need painting, you want the best. Fitzpatrick Painting. Don't settle for less.
Specializing in house repaints, interior and exterior, and commercial buildings, Fitzpatrick Painting also provides a full line of carpentry services and so much more. Experience the difference. Find them at fitzpatrickpainting.com for your free estimate and more information.
Fitzpatrick Painting. Unsurpassed in customer service and quality.
At Michelob Ultra, we know it's not just about how much you work out every day. It's about how much you work into every day, too. That's why we brew a beer for those who realize that expending calories should never come at the expense of spending time with friends. And for those who understand that just because you work out doesn't mean you can't go out. Hey, that's why we brew Michelob Ultra to have 95 calories, 2.6 carbs, and an exceptional taste. Michelob Ultra, brewed for those who go the extra mile. Enjoy responsibly. 2016 Michelob Ultra Light Beer, Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri. 95 calories, 2.6 carbs, 0.6 grams protein, 0 grams fat per 12 ounces.
Wall Street opens with a sell-off. Fox Business Network's Nicole Petalides live at the New York Stock Exchange.
Indeed, and all 10 sectors are to the downside today as the Dow Jones Industrial Average right now is down 157 points at 18,322. All the major indices are down for the week. The NASDAQ down 47 points right now. That's almost a full percentage point, much like the Dow. And the worst of the bunch is the S&P 500, down 1 full percentage point, down 22 points. All 10 sectors are lower. Telecom, financials, technology leading the way. It's a Fed-driven rally. Now there's worries once again about rate hikes. And now we're seeing some of the movers. We have the Wells Fargo story where it's slightly higher, but that they created a long time ago. They were slapped with a fine of $185 million where there was phony accounts created. And also another mover are this story about Chipotle getting drones delivering burritos from Google and Alphabet. Lisa.
Thanks, Nicole. Oil prices, meantime, back under $47 a barrel, down about 2% after a 4% jump yesterday. The FAA warning air travelers not to use or charge recalled Samsung phones on planes or to pack them and check luggage. The Galaxy Note 7s are blamed for at least 35 fires around the world.
A Horry County, South Carolina man says he left his Galaxy Note 7 phone charging in the garage, went to pick up his kids. When he came home, his house was on fire. A St. Petersburg, Florida family claimed one of the phones exploded and caught fire, destroying their Jeep. An Australian man charging his phone overnight says it set his hotel room on fire.
Fox Radio's Jane Metzler. Some airlines overseas, including Qantas and Virgin Australia, are banning the Samsung 7s from even being on a plane. Samsung is working on replacements for customers who already have one just a few weeks after they launched. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News Radio.
.20 KPNW. Wake up call at 7:05. Sunshine today, mid to upper 80s, even warmer tomorrow. Almost 80 on Sunday. Pretty good looking weekend weather-wise. All right, looks like Highway 58 has been resolved. We had a situation there 6 miles east of Pleasant Hill. Now we got a situation at Highway 99, the northbound lane affected at Highway 99 near 34, northbound lane. The fact that we have some vegetation apparently infringing on your right to travel the direction you want to. So just be careful up there. Again, milepost 7.81, Highway 99. Couple minutes ago, pretty compelling conversation we had. We were talking about 911 and as far as 9/11 and how folks still thinking about it in certain, sometimes, the wound is too still fresh, even after 15 years. A gentleman called and said that he went up there and happened to notice a church that was unscathed near the towers, and yet the building was intact. And he talked about going into the church.
Inside that church were mementos from every country you can imagine. It was kind of an outpouring internationally. There were firemen's helmets and there were badges and all this stuff, and it impressed me at the time that it was an international hug. It was so profound, and even now I get choked up thinking about it. But anyway, it made me very proud to be an American when I was there. It made me profoundly sad. And everybody should see it. It might change the hearts of some people just to go see what America is really about. The really interesting thing, from my perspective, is my great grandfather farmed like 2 blocks away on Wall Street back when New York was called New Amsterdam.
There's some history, huh? You got some definite strings attached to that region. How amazing is that? All right, 7:07. Coming up in for Bill, it is Justin on the news. He's in the news cave standing by. It's coming up at 11:20 KPNW.
It's back to school time and morning mayhem at its family finest. Well, stop the insanity and treat yourself and the kids to Burrito Amigos, the friendly ones. Save yourself a little stress and go through the Burrito Amigos drive-thru on West 6th in Eugene or on 42nd Street in Springfield. No fighting over milk, cereal, or the last piece of bacon. Burrito Amigos has great breakfast burritos like their bacon burritos with 2 types of bacon or the Menchaca burrito made with real Angus beef. Of course, if your little one or maybe you likes to spice things up, then maybe a chorizo breakfast burrito will kick it up a notch, to steal a phrase. Burrito Amigos drive-thrus also offer espresso for a meal and a mocha while you motor. For little appetites, there's the junior-sized burritos, and for your burgeoning linemen, get them full-size. The kids will love Burrito Amigos as a breakfast treat, and you'll love Burrito Amigos because you didn't have to make anything. I'm Bill London, and as a parent, I endorse Burrito Amigos as an instrument of morning mental health. Burrito Amigos in Springfield and Eugene.
Ramjack has your foundation solution. Ramjack can fix that. CCB 146906.
My dad came to live with us last month, and it's going pretty well. I feel like I never have time for myself. With him being around more, it really lets us catch up on things. His memory isn't what it used to be. We get up and we have coffee. He usually wakes up at 4:30. Then we go for a walk. He needs lots of my attention. I do need to keep an eye on his medications, though. That's important. Sometimes I feel like a pharmacist. I'd say John and the kids are adjusting pretty well. They honestly have no idea what I'm going through. It can be a little challenging. Help. But so far, so good. I could really use just a little help.
For those dealing with the daily struggles of caring for a loved one, we hear you. That's why AARP created a community with experts and other caregivers for advice, tips, and support. Together, let's help each other better care for ourselves and the ones we love. Visit aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
You'll hear it here first. This is your wake-up call on News Radio 1120 KPNW.
And good morning. This look at the news brought to you by Burrito Amigos, the friendly ones, featuring great breakfast burritos and fresh brewed locally roasted coffee for a tasty start to your morning. Here's what's going on. Florida-based call center Sykes has been in Eugene since 2013 and plans to close their location at Broadway and Charlottetown by the end of October. Up to 418 employees will be affected by the move. Wendy Summers, spokesperson for Sykes, said in a letter to the company, "We are notifying you now so that you and your family may make necessary accommodations to adjust to a business change like this." The building's previous tenant was Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Wells Fargo has fired 5,300 employees for opening ghost accounts and credit cards for customers without their knowledge. Federal regulators say it's been happening since 2011 and was a way for employees to boost their sales figures by ways of bank fees to earn more money. The firings were spread out over the last couple of years. Employees moved funds from customers' existing accounts into newly created ones without their knowledge or consent. According to CNN Money, employees also submitted applications for over 565,000 credit cards without their customers' knowledge. Roughly 14,000 of those accounts incurred $400,000 in fees, including annual fees, interest charges, and overdraft protection fees. When the business energy tax credit was shut down in Oregon, many suspected there was fraud. Brad Ford says an independent audit answered that question.
Around $1 billion were spent under the Business Energy Tax Credit Program before it was shut down in 2014. $347 million in credits have questionable aspects.
More than 25% of the large projects had at least one of the indicators that there should be a concern and it should be looked into.
Oregon Secretary of State Gene Atkins says there is a wide variety of concerns.
Potentially conflicts of interest, projects that were never operational, a business that closed or went out of business.
Atkins' audit also makes recommendations to the state that would have prevented the potential fraud if more compliance officers were in place to monitor the projects. Brad Ford, KPNW.
After nearly 6 years of silence, Terry Horman, the stepmother of Kyron Horman, a little boy who went missing in Portland, will be on the Dr. Phil show. Horman's episode is expected to air next week. She was shown on a promotional commercial for the upcoming season of Dr. Phil, where he asked her why she lied to the media during the events that followed Kyron's disappearance. The investigation into Kyron's disappearance is still open and no arrests have been made. An adult with Portland Public Schools in Multnomah County has tested positive for state action levels of lead. The test followed 2 false positives, but the individual is considered in a gray area. Perry Cabot with the county health department says many of the tests have been coming back with false positive results. Officials are urging those who have been found to have elevated lead levels to see a healthcare provider for follow-up testing. Oregon Democratic Representative Earl Blumenauer and Republican Tim Murphy are introducing a bipartisan resolution to recognize September as National Suicide Prevention Month. Blumenauer says this resolution is something everyone in Congress should be able to support.
We lose 5 lives every hour to a cause that is treatable and preventable.
It's an especially big problem for veterans, and it's the second leading cause of death for people between the ages of 10 and 34. In most cases, people who commit suicide show symptoms that are recognizable and treatable. He says there needs to be more organizations like Oregon-based Lines for Life, which operates a 24-hour phone line for people in crisis. Jury selection is underway in the Mellauer National Wildlife Refuge takeover. One of the lawyers was concerned about the message added security would send to the jurors. Security is very tight at the federal courthouse in Portland. And Bundy's lawyer expressed concern to the judge that the heavier than normal security might send a message to jurors. Judge Anna Brown said she's been threatened and she wasn't going to second-guess the security measures being taken by the U.S. Marshal's Office. Emin Bundy, his brother Ryan, and 5 others are charged with conspiracy in the takeover of the Mellauer National Wildlife Refuge. Jury selection expected to be completed by the end of the day today. With the new school year starting this week, the Oregon Department of Education released the results of 290,000 tests taken last year, as the state saw marked improvements in English, language arts, and math. The online tests provide a snapshot for parents and teachers to help lead from grade to grade and beyond high school. Nearly 55% of students earned a 3 or 4 and are considered on track to be college and career ready in English language arts. Almost 119,000 or 42% earned a 3 or 4 in the math category. The football season at Philomath High School has been canceled. The school board met with parents and community members last night and decided to cancel the season in the wake of a hazing incident in July that involved 6 players and 1 assistant coach, along with 11 freshman victims. There's a plan to play 2 remaining JV games with the possibility of adding more, but the varsity season will not be played. All football activities were stalled last month when information about the crimes at Camp Rylea in Clatsop County came to light. Once the Oregon State Police concluded their investigation, the school board decided to have outside experts observe practices last week to determine if there were enough players who could field a varsity team, and the answer there was no. There are 2 seniors who were not accused of any wrongdoing, and seniors are not eligible for JV play, but an exception could be made. There were several emotional speeches last night, including one from Melissa Muir, the wife of football coach Troy Muir. She said her husband did not know anything about the events at the camp and that those responsible took advantage of his trust. Oregon Senator Ron Wyden is sounding an alarm over a change in federal law that he says could open your computer to hacking. Brad Ford with more.
Oregon Senator Ron Wyden says this type of change needs to be considered by Congress and not solely by the Justice Department.
Under this change, the government can search potentially millions of computers with one single warrant.
Wyden says they would do that with malware installed on computers. Republican Senator John Cornyn disagrees and says that it would not affect how evidence is gathered.
This has to do with what court you go to in order to get a court order.
Wyden says that if Congress does nothing by December 1st, the new rule takes effect. Cornyn says the rule has the support of the U.S. Supreme Court. Wyden wants open hearings on the change in Congress. Brad Ford, KPNW.
More than 125 animals are on their way to the Pacific Northwest after they were rescued from flooding in Louisiana. Thousands of pets were displaced after the devastating floods there. Wings of Rescue is flying animals whose owners made no attempt to claim them out of the area. Many of the animals were already in shelters before the flooding. The first flights to Oregon arrived in Hillsboro yesterday afternoon. Animals will be taken to the Oregon Humane Society, Oregon Friends of Shelter Animals, or Rogue Valley Humane Society in Oregon. And finally, September is National Preparedness Month, and the Eugene Water and Electric Board, as well as the city of Eugene, want to help citizens prepare for earthquakes, forest fires, and other emergencies that could interrupt the delivery of drinking water. Joe Harwood from eWeb.
eWeb customers can now order 3-gallon BPA-free water storage containers at a discounted price. The reason we're doing that is because, storing an emergency supply of water along with food and other life-sustaining items is a critical component in any household emergency kit.
eWeb customers can pre-order containers online at the eWeb site. The charge per container, $5, will be applied to your water bill, and the containers are picked up in the first week of October. The autumn containers distribution will take place Sunday, August 2nd through Wednesday, August 5th to allow multiple days for pickup. Springfield Utility Board and Rainbow Water District have also ordered containers and are planning fall distributions there too. This look at the news has been brought to you by Burrito Amigos, the friendly ones. I'm Justin Phillips. You're up to date on News Radio 1120 KPNW.
Wake Up Call Sports on News Radio 1120 KPNW.
Eugene M's are back in it, back in the playoffs. After losing Game 1 in Hillsboro, they came back to win Game 2 at PK last night, 6-2, snapping a 4-game losing streak to the Hops. M's pitcher Pedro Severio threw 5 scoreless innings and 8 strikeouts, allowing just 2 hits. But you got to give a lot of credit to over 4,000 that showed up to cheer on the M's. The deciding Game 3 tonight to see who takes on the winner of Spokane and Everett at PK. Go M's. Super Bowl rematch regular season kickoff for the NFL last night saw Trevor Siemian become somewhat of a rising star for the Denver Broncos, and Graham Gano, failed to be the hero for the Carolina Panthers. Siemian quarterbacked the Broncos through some mistakes and was good enough, going 18 of 26 for 178 yards, a touchdown despite 2 INTs. Gano had a chance to win it in the end for the Panthers, missing a 50-yard field goal after he plunked and made a field goal, but Denver called timeout. A lonely life for the kicker when you miss. Oregon football team in action at Autzen tomorrow night. They take on the mysterious Virginia Cavaliers with former OSU linebacker and BYU coach Bronco Mendenhall. Coach Mark Helfrich.
We're certainly going to talk about certain aspects of the opponent, schematically, all those things. But so much of this is us. And I know Virginia was saying the exact same thing. Richmond's a really good football team, extremely talented football team. Several transfers as well as guys that they recruited and are very good. And then Virginia turned the ball over and they took advantage of it.
Of course, Virginia lost to Richmond last week. Game time 7:30 on ESPN tomorrow night. By the way, a duck of the future, check this out. Colson Yankoff, a 6'4", 195-pound Pret out of Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, threw for 434 yards and 4 touchdowns through the air, 4 on the ground. He's still more than a year away from signing a national letter of intent, but it looks like he's going to be a good one. Former Oregon basketball players Brandon Austin, Dominic Hardis, and Damian Dotson had their lawsuits against the U of O dismissed. When they were dismissed, all 3 are expected to refile. Wake Up Call Sports brought to you by Max Muscle. Stop in and check out the new flavors of the new Max Pro protein powder lineup, like orange and cookies and cream. Max Pro in Eugene across Franklin from Market of Choice. News time 7:21.
KPNW weather brought to you by Ramjack West. Do you have foundation problems? Ramjack can fix that. Get your free quote at ramjackwest.com.
Good morning to you and yours. If you're headed out that door in the next few minutes or you're already out and about, we do have mostly clear skies. There is some light hazy fog off and on out there. Temps right now on the cooler side in the upper 40s to low 50s with light winds out of the northwest at 5 to 10. This afternoon, high pressure looks to dominate across the region. That means mostly sunny skies. The light haze will burn off by about 10 a.m. This afternoon, temps are going to climb again and in the mid to low 80s, going up another few degrees from yesterday. About 82 here in town. Winds will pick up in the afternoon due to a tight pressure gradient at 10 to 20 with a few gusts up to 25. The sunny, warm weather looks to last right into the weekend before the next weak cold front and mild storm system pushes in Saturday night into your Sunday morning. I'm Chief Meteorologist Chris Nation, the NBC 16 Weather Center, hoping you have a fantastic day.
Hi, everybody. This is Don Essig with today's Motivational Minute, sponsored by Eugene's #1 electrical contractor, Builders Electric. Fortunately for all of us, Thomas Jefferson once said, "Nothing can stop the man with the right mental attitude from achieving his goal. Nothing on earth can help the man with the wrong mental attitude." And as we all know, the right mental attitude is what helped Jefferson and others create and develop this great country of ours. What goal are you working on right now? Be sure and create and maintain that positive mental attitude about it. You'll have a much better chance to succeed. This is Don Essig with today's Motivational Minute. I'll be back tomorrow. Until then, have a positive day.
This Motivational Minute was brought to you by Builders Electric, providing honest, reliable, and positive contracting throughout the Willamette Valley since 1960. That's Builders Electric, CCB number 4296.
Does your home or business have foundation problems? Ramjack can fix that. Discover why Ramjack is the only foundation company you'll ever need. Get your free in-home evaluation at ramjackwest.com. Choose Ramjack. CCB 146906.
If you're going to snack, why not snack the healthy way? Max Muscle has a new snack aisle filled with healthy options like protein bars, protein muffins, chips, jerky. We even have protein pancake mix. Stop in and start snacking. Max Muscle, Franklin Boulevard, across from the Market of Choice.
Tired of long wait times and high prices at your local boat repair shop? The Boat Dock LLC Marine Repair in Springfield has the fastest turnover. With state-of-the-art test equipment and on-site test tank, the jobs are done right the first time. From simple tune-ups and water pumps to complete repowers on all types of marine power boats, the Boat Dock LLC is the shop to visit at 1252 30th Street in Springfield. A Better Business Bureau accredited business. Visit their website at eugeneboatrepair.com. That's eugeneboatrepair.com.
Hiring people is probably the worst part of my job. It's such a hassle, the searching, the sorting through resumes. Most people don't have the right experience.
We started using ZipRecruiter about 3 months ago. Right from the start, you could tell it was going to make hiring a lot easier. One click and my job was posted to 100+ job boards, all the top sites.
All of the candidates came to my dashboard, and it's easy to compare them. Thumbs up if I liked them, thumbs down if I didn't. No emails and attachments, printing up docs, phone calls, none of that.
And I couldn't believe the number of great applicants we got. I had the person we needed within 1 week. I don't know how we hired before ZipRecruiter.
Whether you're looking to fill one position or 20, find the best candidates with ZipRecruiter, where your job is just one click away from 100+ job sites. ZipRecruiter, the fastest way to hire. And right now you can try ZipRecruiter free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/quick. That's ZipRecruiter.com/quick. ZipRecruiter.com/quick.
This is the sound of E. coli splashing around in raw hamburger juice on your cutting board. And it looks like Mom just put the tomatoes and onions on there too. Don't let E. coli mosh with your food. An estimated 3,000 Americans die from a foodborne illness each year. So always separate raw meat from vegetables on 2 cutting boards. Keep your family safe at foodsafety.gov. Brought to you by the USDA, HHS, and the Ad Council.
You know, it's not Throwback Thursday, and if you don't know what Throwback Thursday is, on Facebook and some social media sites, they have, where you can put pictures and things that happened to you, years ago. Well, I'm just going to invite you sometime this weekend to wear jammies with the feet in them. Maybe it's been 20, 30, 40, 50. Maybe you've never had that experience. You don't even know what underoos are. I'm just, it doesn't have to be superhero themed. It just something comfortable that maybe you would have worn, or say a 7-year-old would wear. Okay. And then crawl into bed and sleep like you used to sleep, like over 5 or 6, 7 hours. Remember when you used to sleep for 8, sometimes 9, 10 hours? How amazing would that be? Just try it. Just try it one time. Now, if the mattress that you'll be doing this little experiment on is a little decrepit, maybe a little lumpy, maybe a little saggy, the mattress, maybe you need to go check out and see what a new mattress could be about. And okay, let's just take the whole experiment with your jammies, maybe a stuffy. You got a stuffed animal? Bring it. They're not going to laugh at you because they want to make the sale. But go take a test lay at Sleep Train and see what a mattress in 2016 feels like. And then get ready to save some money, because mattress price wars ending Sunday. Potential, I'll just tell you right off the bat, 4 years, possibly, interest-free financing on Sleep Train's exclusive new Tempur HD models. By the way, you can't get those anywhere else. You can't get those HD models anywhere else. No money down. Subject to credit approval. Mattress price wars ending Sunday, and there's one near you. They're all over. And they all equally have great people behind the counters ready to help you out. Sleep Train in Eugene, Springfield, Corvallis, and Salem. And tell them you're like this. Oh, like this with the wake-up call.
It never rains when the wake-up call takes to the air. News Radio 1120 KPNW.
727. If it wasn't a raging stallion going through the past years, it would be a what? John, what would you be instead of a horse? If we were to have this as a TV theme and we needed you to kind of, with your cowboy hat, run through the pasture, what animal would you be on? Or what fast-moving vehicle would you be on?
Oh, not a donkey.
Not a donkey.
A vehicle. Maybe a Yugo.
Okay. We'll go with it.
I killed it, didn't I?
John Cruz joining us back, getting ready to chat about, a bunch of stuff. Things that are going on locally, the show, and, of course, what color would the Yugo be? Maybe camouflage?
I think that'd be best for an outdoor show. But I tend to remember a lot of them being yellow, at least for the 1 or 2 years that they were actually on the road.
I heard a radio station give a 6-pack of Yugos away. I thought that was brilliant. A 6-pack of Yugos. It's like, wow, man, to have a budget would be awesome. Before we talk about things going on this weekend, things on the show, for people that don't know, you recently retired as a law enforcement, a servant to the community up in Washington. And I'm sure with your wisdom and your experience, you have some maybe thoughts about this weekend with 9/11 coming up on Sunday. What kind of goes through your mind? Were you working that morning? What was going on that fateful day?
You know, I was actually working the night shift, and I had just gotten off work and was driving home, and I caught a little snippet on the radio that an airplane had crashed into one of the Twin Towers. And I got home and I turned on the TV, and right when I turned on the TV, the second plane hit. And me and everybody else knew at that point this wasn't an accident. This was an act of terrorism. And I think just like everyone else, I was just transfixed to the television for, the heck was sleep. I mean, we were watching everything that was happening, everything was unfolding. It was raw news, so some of it was inaccurate. I remember at one point they were reporting that the White House was, under attack in some of the Capitol buildings, which wasn't true. But, as we all know, God knows it was bad enough that day. And how close we came together as a nation in the days following that. And I look back 15 years later and look at how far apart we've drifted as a nation and how divisive things have become. And it just makes you wonder. It just makes you wonder how things can change so quickly, how the pendulum swings.
So with that being said, would you say that we have learned maybe some lessons, but not enough of them?
I think that we, this is difficult because so many decisions have been made that have affected us as a nation since then. Some of them we've done well. Other ones I cringe and think, we're off course. You take a look at, whether it's a military point of view, whether it's a societal point of view, whether it's just going to the airport and dealing with TSA. There's things that are better, that make us safer. There's other things that you have to wonder about.
What about you personally as a cop? How did it change the way you did what you did every single day?
Obviously we never thought of terrorism before, especially being a fairly small-town cop, and you started getting an education into this. There actually was some good intelligence sharing where, you would, and that was one of the big criticisms after 9/11 is that the feds knew things that the New York City police never knew, and intelligence wasn't shared at the federal level, the state level, the local level, and you actually saw a really good outreach of that. But that's kind of gone away. And any more of the information we get, at least as I was leaving towards the end, was literally the same information the press was getting at the same time. So you weren't getting that, hey, we've got, these people are acting suspiciously, and we've got reports that people are casing the naval base up at Everett, and here's what kind of car they have, and be aware of this, and contact these people. You didn't get that sort of you don't get that sort of information anymore that you did in the aftermath of 9/11.
Talking to John Cruz, host of Northwest Outdoors and America Outdoors, which airs both of them on this here radio station, 1120 KPNW. What's going to be on Northwest Outdoors, the original?
So we're going to be talking about September fishing on the Klickitat and Yakima rivers. We'll tell you about a grassroots effort with a very unlikely coalition to add 83,000 acres to the Bob Marshall Wilderness in Montana, and also to add about 2,000 acres of land for snowmobilers to recreate in, and also land for timber interests to have a sustainable timber harvest. So very broad-based coalition, all grassroots, so we'll see how that goes.
You said, I don't know if you said unorthodox, but you were, there's something peculiar about the coalition. Can you give a hint?
Basically, it's generally speaking, when you have people wanting to add acres to wilderness area, you generally have on one side wilderness advocates and environmental organizations. On the other side, you have ranchers and motorized enthusiasts, whether they're with ATVs or snowmobiles, and timber harvest folks, and they're always at odds. They're always at loggerheads with each other. And then you throw in, anglers and hunters in the mix on top of that. So all of these different groups came together 10 years ago over by Seeley Lake, Montana, and they sat down and they took a look at, here's what separates us, but here's what we all can agree on, and they started working on those things. And they've actually got a really good proposal, but they have to get the Montana senators to take that to Washington, D.C. and actually sponsor a bill. So that's what they're working on now.
So once you throw the political aspect of things and relying on somebody in the the Senate or anything up there, that's where things probably kind of maybe kind of fall apart as far as this being a viable plan.
It could. The one advantage that you have in Montana is that the population base is less. I really think that their senators are more accessible to the people than they are in Washington or Oregon, where there's just way more people and a lot more going on. So, and I think Montana senators have more of a tie to the land, for lack of a better word.
Gotcha. Okay, locally, with the weather being incredible and maybe a little bit on the hot side of things, I see some fish and some crab and maybe a trip to, say, northeast Oregon in our near future.
Well, let's start off with the Pendleton Roundup.
Let's do it.
That kicks off the 14th, runs through the 17th. If you like rodeo, this is one of the best rodeos in the nation. And it started off as an old Wild West show, so it should be a ton of fun. We talked to Randy Thomas with the Pendleton Roundup last week on our national show, and if you're looking for something fun to do, that would be really fun to do. You and about 50,000 of your closest friends can go to Pendleton, Oregon.
Have you done that?
I haven't yet, but after talking to Randy, it is on my bucket list to do in the next couple of years. It sounds like an absolute hoot.
Not that far away from you. Yeah, I've been to Pendleton. I haven't been to the Roundup, but I think if you live in the state of Oregon, I think it's mandated.
Well, then we'll both have to go together.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, before then, we talked about crabbing the last couple of weeks. It's just getting better and better. The Oregon Department of Fish and Wildlife says crabbing along the coast, especially in the bays, has been really good. Several places, folks are taking home limits of 12 Dungeness crabs. So, if you like crab, then get out to the coast this weekend because it's really good right now. If you want to make the trip up to the Columbia River, that Buoy 10 salmon fishery was pretty slow for a while there, but the fish counts have picked up, and I've been watching the fish counts over Bonneville Dam. We're pretty much getting back to normal now. So anywhere from Buoy 10, which is still open until September 14th, all the way up to the mouth of the Deschutes and the mouth of the Klickitat should be really good in the next couple weeks.
And then finally, something a little bit closer to home.
Trout, Clear Lake, right off the Mackenzie River Highway, south of Highway 20, was stocked with 2,500 trout this past week, including 500 quote-unquote larger trout. And I'm not sure how big those larger trout are. They're just defined as larger trout. So this lake's open year-round for fishing, but I'm guessing with the stocking, it's a good place to go this week.
Very good. All right, both shows, Northwestern Outdoors and America Outdoors, airing on 1120 KPNW. Johnny Cruz, the host, thank you so much for the time, and have a great weekend.
You do the same. Take care.
John Cruz on the Wake Up Call, 737.
The Bloomberg Market Report, sponsored by Pacific Continental Bank, serving your business and community in Eugene for over 40 years.
This is a Bloomberg Market Minute. Yesterday, we got a government report that showed the biggest decline in crude inventories last week since 1999. Oil rose more than 4.5% on that news. But this morning, crude is falling on concerns that report was a one-off. That's putting pressure on stocks this morning. Wells Fargo fired 5,300 employees after receiving a $185 million fine to resolve claims that its employees opened deposit and credit card accounts without customers' approval. Regulators say bank employees broke the law to hit sales goals. Kroger cut its full-year profit outlook. The nation's largest supermarket operator has been battered by food deflation. Lower prices for items like beef and pork, while a boon to consumers, have pushed the grocery industry into heavy discounts that have weighed on margins and sales. And Barnes & Noble chairman and founder Leonard Riggio said the bookstore chain is suffering from one of the worst retail environment in decades after traffic in its stores hit close to a historic low point. Courtney Donahoe, Bloomberg Radio.
Built for business. In business, time is money. And business money is also money. No wonder nearly 1,000 businesses choose Comcast Business Internet over DSL from the phone company every single day. Not only is it up to 5 times faster, it's actually a better value when you go with the fastest plan. So take a minute out of your busy schedule and call Comcast Business. It will be well worth your time and your money. Switch to Comcast Business Internet. Then add voice and TV for just $34.90 a month. And ask about our 2-year price guarantee. Call 800-501-6000 or visit ComcastBusiness.com. Comcast Business. Built for business.
Offer ends 10/31/16. Restrictions apply. Limited to one voice line and private view TV for new customers. 2-year contract required. Requires Comcast Business Internet at an additional monthly charge. Equipment, taxes, and fees, including broadcast TV fee extra. Savings claim based on cost per megabits per second. Compares Comcast 100 megabits per second and 20 megabits per second DSL downloads.
Even with the greatest real estate we've seen in a decade, do you realize that 20% of homes go pending and then fall out, which ends up netting you, the seller, less money? The reason? You hired the wrong real estate agent. If you want a great price and have a great experience, hire Harpole Homes with Keller Williams Realty.
Fact, not all agents are created equal. When you sell your house with Eric and Jeanette's team, you get thousands more dollars in your pocket. With the extra money the Harpoles net you, you can take a vacation, pay off debt, or put more down on your next home.
How did the Harpole Homes do it? Negotiating, marketing, and their exclusive certified pre-owned home program. When you hire Harpole Homes to sell your house, they pay for your home inspection up front to take care of the issues to ensure your home stays sold. It's one of 182 steps they follow to get your house sold for top dollar.
For your free information package or to schedule a free consultation, call them 541-286-3030 or check them out at harpolehomes.com. Sell your house this summer with Harpole Homes with Keller Williams Realty. 541-286-3030.
Want to see what you'd look like if you had a flatter belly? Now's your chance, because for a limited time, we're giving away free trials of Somabiotics, the new discovery that flattens bloated bellies fast. But hurry and call now while we're still giving it away for free. 1-800-600-9425. Strict limit of 1 free trial per household. These free trials are reserved for anyone, male or female, who's looking for maximum belly flattening in minimum time. Somabiotics is scientifically formulated with natural ingredients to flatten bloated bellies fast by cleansing pounds of rotting food and toxic sludge from your body. It even combats periodic heartburn and acid reflux. So just think how much better you'll look and feel. Want to see what you'd look like with a flatter belly? Now's your chance. But hurry, call now for details while we're still giving these trials of Somabiotics away for free. 1-800-600-9425. That's 1-800-600-9425. If lines are busy, try again. 1-800-600-9425.
Whoop-dee-doo, whoop-dee-doo. I hear a polka and my troubles are through.
That concludes the musical portion of our program. And now, ladies and gentlemen,
The Wake Up Call with Holloway and London on News Radio 1120 KPNW.
741 wake-up call.
Where were you when
15 years ago, this country had a tragic event, and you sit there and you go, that doesn't even really do it justice when it comes to words, but it was one that ripped our innocence from our clutches. Never would we have those same complacent and secure attitudes and feelings. Sundays, if you didn't realize, marks the 15th anniversary of the attacks on the World Trade Center, the Pentagon, and Pennsylvania that took over 3,000 lives. Sunday on the National Geographic Channel, they'll have a special full day of compelling broadcasts starting at noon, capped by the 2-hour special 9/11, The Longest War. To talk about that is Christine Weber. Christine is VP of the Global Production Services for National Geographic, and she joins us now. It must be special if they're bringing out the brass to promote this incredible day. Christine, welcome to the show.
Thanks so much, Bill. Nice to be there.
So looking at your schedule or your resume, you've had quite the career. Before we talk about everything that's happening on Sunday, talk about your climb since graduating college.
Thanks, I will. I got into this business by accident. I was a biology major, pre-med, was going to school and was headed out to California to go to school in grad school in public health. And while I was establishing residency so I could afford that, I got a 1-week temp manpower job as a receptionist at National Geographic in Los Angeles back in the days before cable television when we were just doing 4 specials a year for PBS. And I learned from the best, and it was kind of one of those fork in the roads, and loved it and stayed with them and worked my way up to producer and eventually moved to Washington to work at headquarters here. And I've left once or twice and come back several times and came back to them again about 6 months ago, and I'm loving it. They've clung to their brand and still doing stuff that really is meaningful and substance and accurate, which is something we pride ourselves in. So good place to work.
I have to ask, a biology major, have you ever thought, had you not got that temp job, what you'd be doing today?
Yeah, I do many times. Yeah, well, I got to use those biology classes because I've done shows on elephants and baboons and quite a bit of underwater stuff, but also history and archaeology. So I think that's what college is good for, teaching you how to learn and listen and absorb information. And so all of that was really helpful in television. And I'm was happy about that phone call many years ago.
Bill and myself are both huge fans of Nat Geo. It seems like everything that you guys kind of attack and pretty much pull apart and investigate is extremely compelling. Sunday, and we talked about this off the air, I think what's going to happen is what happened 15 years ago. People are going to be locked in front of the television because you guys have a full day of broadcast. What was the intent when you were thinking about 15 years and kind of doing the Nat Geo treatment of the event? What was the goal that you set out with?
Well, we even sort of surprised ourselves when we were trying to think what should we do for the 15th anniversary. We went back and looked at what we'd already done, and we actually didn't realize that we've done over 33 films, either on 9/11 itself or on the wars that have followed, the war that's followed, and including several series, Combat Rescue and No Man Left Behind series that also covered the war. And so we decided nobody's ever put it all together. Nobody's ever looked at 9/11 and what happened afterwards. And so that special at 9 o'clock starts actually on 9/10, the day before, when we were just worried about shark attacks and there was some bad weather and there were elections coming up. And we carried all the way through then the opening of the Freedom Tower and what has become America's longest war. And so that was our really desire to use the wealth of coverage and really outstanding filmmaking we've had over the years, but put it all together and tell the whole story.
Was there anything that popped up that becomes, say, a new, I guess, somewhat of a game changer that you hadn't seen before or no one had seen before?
No, I think over the years we have done that. One of the shows we're airing as part of that whole stack on Sunday is a George Bush interview. And again, it's one of the nice things about working for National Geographic. You get access to people and stories that few other people do because we're so trusted, and we take that trust very seriously. We research every word that goes on television or in the magazine or in any of our books and maps and other products. And so President Bush trusted us to be fair and honest, and he did a long interview with one of our producers, Peter Schnall, and really told from a very personal point of view, from the moment he heard about the attacks when he was sitting in that classroom full of children. And so I think those kinds of stories are the stories that only National Geographic can tell. There is a little new footage. Most of it is, again, from films we'd already done, but we did film at the Port Authority, which is just now closing up and distributing all the artifacts that were collected from 9/11 to all 50 states will have artifacts, as well as 10 countries have requested things from that day to honor and memorialize that event.
There are interviews and clips, sound bites from survivors, first responders, journalists, and military leaders. Was there one in particular, either interview or bit of audio that grabbed you and still stands out?
Yeah, there's one story. There was this guy, Staff Sergeant Anthony Farina, and this was in Iraq, and we were getting hammered in Baghdad, and so they decided to build this long wall, a 2-mile-long wall, which is essentially sort of Jersey barriers but triple the height. And these soldiers, they were being lowered. Each piece of this wall was being lowered by a crane, and the soldiers, though, under fire, had to climb up and release the cable from the crane that was dropping each of them, and they were being hit all the time. And this Staff Sergeant Anthony Farina was actually hit in the neck. And they took him down. He was bleeding. They took him and put him into a vehicle. But he realized the guys under him were all getting hit, and they were getting kind of panicky. So he just put back on his gear and ran back out there and helped them finish the job that day. And it was little things like that. I mean, 9/11, we hear about all the firemen, and there were so many heroes there and at the Pentagon, but the heroism is continued for years and goes on today with, and the stories this morning about the attempted rescue of the hostages. It's just people, everyday people doing amazing things. For us, it was very personal. There were 2 National Geographic employees on the plane that hit the Pentagon. Ann Judge was head of our travel division, so she booked our flights as we traveled around the world. She booked us in and out of places, teeny towns and little islands around the world, and we all knew her. And Joe Ferguson was head of our educational unit, and he was traveling with 3 teachers and 3 students who had won a competition to go work with Sylvia Earle, a legendary underwater scientist. And they were on the plane that hit the Pentagon. So for us here, it was very personal. We knew people who died that day, and it hit very close to home.
When you think about, I mean, not just the first responders that have the uniform, they had to go in, but when you think about those first responders and the people that were everyday citizens, like you talked about, doing incredible things. What kind of new appreciation do you get as far as having watched the special and kind of being, I guess, reminded? I mean, because for sometimes I don't think we've really dealt with completely. It feels a lot more fresh than 15 years, but I think that wound is still fresh. But as far as kind of going back and seeing what people did that day, because a lot of people don't want to watch it. When you do, what kind of thoughts go through your head?
I think it's just a reminder of how much more we have in common than what divides us. That event for the weeks after, and I think you probably remember too, we were kind to each other. We took care of each other. I remember it wasn't appropriate to start even a business call without saying, "How are you doing?" And we talked to each other. We spoke more quietly in the grocery store lines. We didn't cut in front of each other. We really cared about each other globally, not just in this country, but around the world. Everybody felt for us. And you hope that we can remember that and try and come closer to that, because we've gone so far the other direction. So I think that's something I was really reminded of. You see in the shots the looks on people's faces, and I think that there is a little bit of heroism in all of us, and it doesn't have to be going into a burning building. It can be just taking compassion on the person next to you, trying to, as my mother always said, put the most charitable construction on the situation. It's believing the best in people and taking care of each other.
Talk about the previous programs that start out about noon on Nat Geo on Sunday.
Sure, we start at noon with Giuliani's 9/11, so it's a look at his point of view, what happened that day, and how he had to try and keep things together and hide his own emotions, because so many friends of his were killed that day. We move on to an episode of CIA Confidential, The Hunt for Bin Laden, then another CIA Confidential, The 9/11 Mastermind. We have a special called Witness D.C., which talks about what happened here from the White House to the Pentagon. There's a fireman story at 4 o'clock. There's another story about Al-Qaeda at 5 o'clock. The War in America is at 6 o'clock. And then the George Bush interview is at 8 o'clock, which is an amazing, really, film about his day and what happened and really told through his voice. It's all his interview. And then the 2-hour special starts at 9 o'clock, and again starts the day before on September 10th, and carries through Afghanistan, Iraq, and back to New York, where they erected the Freedom Tower.
Christine, I could see somebody that watches more than one of these shows, even for a couple of minutes, riding the gamut emotionally as far as being very angry and upset to just ultimate sadness and everything in between. Is that a fair prediction?
I think it is, and I think there is a little bit of all of that in these, and it depends on your personal experience. The interesting thing is now there are young people and kids. My own son was starting. It was his first week of kindergarten. I had dropped him off at kindergarten that day, and now he's in college. And I think we tried to protect our children. I remember going to the park with a lot of other mothers. They closed all the schools. We all had to go pick up our kids at school here in Washington, D.C., and we didn't want them to watch television that day because we didn't want to scare them. So there is this generation that doesn't remember what it was like before, and so I think it's important to teach them about what it was like before, what happened, and how our world has changed, and how we can still make it better. So I think it's important never to forget.
It starts Sunday, 12 o'clock, and of course is capped by the special 9/11, The Longest War, at 9 o'clock our time. Christine, VP of Global Production Services for National Geographic, thank you so much for the time.
Thank you. Appreciate the honor being here.
Absolutely. Christine Weber on the Wake Up Call. It's 11:20 KPNW, hour number 3, coming up on KPNW. Morning.
Shift into savings at your local Kubota dealer. Right now, you can get the Subcompact BX and the Compact B or L Series or the bigger MX Special Utility Tractor with a low down payment, 0% APR for 84 months, and a full 6-year limited powertrain warranty. See your participating Kubota dealer by December 31st. Now through December 31st, 2016. Call toll-free 1-800-794-4992 for details about costs and terms. See Mid-Valley Tractor, locally owned for 30 years, just a mile and a half past the Beltline on Highway 99.
Hi, I'm Eric Benson, General Sales Manager at Sutton RV, and I only come on the radio when something truly awesome is happening at the store, which is right now. George and Martha are traveling a bit, leaving, well, me in charge. So I'm doing some incredible deals. Cue the music! Like a 2017 Surveyor 240 RBS, stock number 4863. You don't need to own a big truck to pull this top seller. The lightweight, fully aluminum design make towing a breeze for everyone, providing a value-packed, luxurious option for those who choose to travel light. Built right here in Oregon, and now you can get this Surveyor for a low $25,999 with 0 down and just $199 a month at 4.49% financing for 15 years on approved credit at Northwest Community Credit Union. There are lots of other special deals just waiting for you. Now more than ever, you need to start with a stop at Sutton RV. Come see us in Eugene today and see how much you can save while I still have the keys to the store.
Mechanics know that Hunter equipment is the best and most sophisticated tool available for precision alignments, particularly for luxury cars and trucks. That alignment is now available in Eugene at Hunter Brake and Alignment, 1040 Tyen Street, across from the DMV in Eugene. Owners Rick and Jeff offer the best technology at a better price. No appointment necessary. They can align any make or model of vehicle. It's Hunter Precision Alignment and Brake Service at a great price. Drive in to Hunter Brake and Alignment, just off West 11th on Tyen. Big or small, they align them all.
I'm Gary Conley with today's Money Minute. Recently, I reported that by printing money and orchestrating low interest rates, the Federal Reserve is sacrificing middle-class savers in favor of wealthy investors, Wall Street, and the banks. In a recent interview, Fed Vice Chairman Stanley Fischer admitted as much. Fisher's trade-off, protecting investors at the expense of middle-class savers, is extremely politically incorrect. And for all the lip service about inequality, the Fed's actions are making it worse. That's because most people don't have investments in the traditional sense. They have a house, savings, and some equity in a retirement plan, if they're lucky. The retirement plan, regardless of what the money's invested in, is actually savings, because when they do retire, they will need it to produce a reliable income. By creating a world of low or no interest rates, the age of no return, savers are forced into becoming novice investors as they try desperately to make any return at all. Here's the nugget. Keep in mind that a saver is someone who wants no risk, while an investor is willing to shoulder some for the possibility of making gains. The lower rates go, the more risk former savers are forced to take in hopes of getting a return on their money. If more people understood what's actually happening and why, they would be very angry as well as very anxious. I'm Gary Conley, and that's today's Money Minute.
When I have an asthma attack, I feel scared. I feel like I'm choking.
Prevent your child's next asthma attack. Visit www.noattacks.org or call your doctor, because even one attack is one too many.
I feel like a fish with no water.
Brought to you by the EPA and the Ad Council.
The Bloomberg Market Report, sponsored by Pacific Continental Bank, serving your business and community in Eugene for over 40 years.
This is a Bloomberg Market Minute. Stocks are taking a tumble lower after Boston Fed President Eric Rosengren warned that waiting too long to raise interest rates threatened to overheat the economy and could risk financial stability. Dell Technologies plans to cut up to 3,000 jobs after acquiring EMC in the largest technology acquisition ever. That's according to people familiar with the matter. A third straight bumper harvest has paved the way for a storage crunch. Farmers are clearing bin space and prepping outdoor facilities to manage the surge of grain that will come off combine starting this month. But it may not be enough, as 24.3 billion bushels of corn, soybeans, and wheat are expected in the season. Amazon is pursuing video rights to a wide range of sports, including the French Open Tennis Championship and professional rugby. The company is looking for ways to draw new customers to its online TV service. That's according to people with knowledge of the matter. The retailer has expressed interest in sports with global appeal. Courtney Donahoe, Bloomberg Radio.
News Radio 1120 KPNW, Eugene, Springfield, USA.
Fox News Radio, I'm Lisa Brady. The White House just out with a statement on North Korea's 5th nuclear test, just hours after the president wrapped up 2 summits in the region. Fox Radio's Rachel Sutherland's live in Washington.
Lisa, the president condemned the nuclear test as a grave threat to regional security and to international peace and stability. The test comes after President Obama, during his trip to Asia, warned North Korea to end its nuclear ambitions.
North Korea needs to know that provocations will only invite more pressure and further deepen its isolation.
On his way back to Washington overnight, the president held phone calls with the president of South Korea and the prime minister of Japan. The leaders agreed to work with the United Nations Security Council to show North Korea there are consequences for its actions. Lisa.
Thanks, Rachel. A Security Council meeting later today. Sunday marks 15 years since 9/11, but annual memorials already underway.
We continue to stand vigilant against all of those who seek to do our nation and its ideals and its people harm.
Attorney General Loretta Lynch leading a Justice Department ceremony. This as Congress holds a final vote on letting 9/11 families sue Saudi Arabia. Fox Radio's Jared Halpern live on the Hill.
House leaders from both parties expect overwhelming support for a bill that gives families of 9/11 victims the right to sue the Saudi government in U.S. court. It would set up a veto fight with the White House. The Obama administration and former Republican national security officials warn the legislation threatens the relationship with a key Middle East ally and could expose Americans overseas to new legal risk. 15 of the 19 hijackers were Saudis, though recently declassified pages from a congressional report revealed no direct link between the government and the attack. Lisa.
Jared, 60 days to go to Election Day, but voters don't have to wait in North Carolina. The earliest of the 37 early voting states takes ballots beginning today. Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
You're listening to the actual sound of Jupiter. Its electromagnetic waves were captured by a probe and beamed roughly 365 million miles to scientists on Earth. But say those same scientists wanted to host a video conference to show off their work. They'd probably need to call IT to have them set up video and a 15-digit dial-in that might not even work. At Vonage, we think it's about time business communications caught up. See what Vonage can do for your business at Vonage.com/it'sabout-time.
QL1, this is Control, checking in to see how excited you are for launch. Over? Well, actually, I'm kind of bored. You're about to travel 17,000 miles per hour through Earth's atmosphere and you're bored? It just doesn't sound that exciting after using Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. I was able to get a completely online custom mortgage approval in minutes. Wow, that is impressive. 3, 2, 1... Rocket Mortgage at QuickenLoans.com. Push button, get mortgage.
Rocket. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLSConsumerAccess.org number 3030.
Teen suicide leads to sweeping allegations.
Punishments and even courts-martial are being considered for up to 20 Marine Corps officers and enlisted leaders after investigations into the suicide of a recruit at the Parris Island training facility in South Carolina. The results of the investigation were released yesterday and found trainees and even some drill instructors were subjected to repeated incidents of verbal and physical abuse. It also blamed commanders for not paying enough attention to what was going on. The investigations were sparked by the death of a 20-year-old Muslim recruit who died after falling nearly 40 feet in a stairwell. No formal charges have been filed, but the process could take weeks or months. Tanya J. Powers, Fox News.
Criminal charges against a Volkswagen engineer who has just pleaded guilty to conspiracy in federal court in New York in the automaker's cheating on diesel emissions. The deal reportedly includes cooperation with the Justice Department's ongoing probe. One of the issues on California's ballot this fall is recreational marijuana in a state where legalized medical pot is already big business. So big, there's a cannabis expo.
This expo wasn't for cultivators and growers, really. It was more for the support industry.
industry, so people in the world of lab testing for pesticides, packaging, and storage. But there were also tax preparers and attorneys. Rachel Gillette is with Greenspoon Martyrs Cannabis Law Group.
20 years ago, your cannabis section of your law firm would have been criminal defense. So things have changed substantially.
She says one of the biggest obstacles for people in the marijuana business is banking. Most banks won't have cannabis industry clients.
It doesn't benefit anybody, including the federal government, to keep these businesses so cash intensive and without access to banking. It creates a safety issue.
Recent polls show 55 to 60% of Californians support legalizing recreational marijuana. In downtown LA, Jessica Rosenthal, Fox News.
Big sell-off right now on Wall Street. The Dow's down 189. Oil prices sinking about 2%. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News Radio.
Good morning to you, News Radio 1120 KPNW, hour number 3 upon us for a Friday go-round. Bill on assignment, in for he. It is Justin Phillips standing by in the news cave. 58 has pretty much remedied itself. So if you're coming in Pleasant Hill or Lowell, those parts should be clean, clear sailing. The only thing that I see really worth reporting is Highway 99 at the intersection with 34 at milepost 7.81, the northbound lanes affected with some kind of hazardous tree or vegetation coming upon the roadways. So northbound lanes probably going to affect, I would think, the southbound, but just be on the lookout. Everything else seems to be flowing smoothly, which is good. Just how you want to start the weekend and a Friday morning. If you see anything that has reared its ugly head, let us know. Be a road ranger and help the other 14 upon their travels at 541-485-KPNW 888 KPNW 888. That's like a tricky telephone. 888-5769 888. Or you can always email in something 1120kpnw@gmail.com if you've heard anything over the last couple of hours that you would like to kind of chime in on. We welcome your comments. Coming up on a Foodie Friday to benefit the March of Dimes, we've got the Signature Chef's Night event, which is going to be here before. It's already September 9th. So you're thinking, okay, about a month away? Well, it just kind of boggles the mind that it's a month away. October 11th, Valley River Inn. We're going to take over the Valley River Inn large room with great food and drink and merriment, and it's all going to help the babies and kids. All to promote March of Dimes and what they do. And if you don't know what they do, a great way to find out is kind of, in this case, coming with, kind of ignorance of what they do is a good thing because you're helping and you're also educating yourself and getting a great dinner and wine and beverage and dessert and maybe some socializing too. Bill and myself will be emceeing the event 10-11 VRI for MOD. It's a Foodie Friday. We'll introduce you to another one of the big restaurants that will be involved. Coming up, 8:07. In for Bill, it is Justin on the news. Coming up next on 1120 KPNW. Good morning.
True taco facts from Burrito Amigos. Last year, we as Americans chowed down on 4.5 billion tacos. If you laid those tacos end to end, a favorite American pastime, by the way, they'd stretch 490,000 miles, essentially to the moon and back, which is a favorite American measurement of distance. If you took all the tacos folks ate at Burrito Amigos last year, they'd get you round trip from Eugene to Vancouver, unless the traffic was bad and you had to go 205. Then you would only get back to the Brownsville exit. A lot of those tacos were Burrito Amigos Baja fish tacos with real cod, cabbage, cilantro, and Sandy's Secret Baja sauce. A few miles were also Chili Verde soft tacos with pork cooked in spicy green salsa. And you could probably get to Salem with all the yummy tacos Burrito Amigos fans noshed on. Yams, cabbage, beans, pumpkin seeds, and a spicy avocado sauce. They're delicious whether you're a vegetarian or not. Burrito Amigos tacos. They're not just for measuring anymore. Burrito Amigos in Eugene and Springfield. I'm Bill London, and I like my tacos by the yard.
This tip of the week brought
To you by Neurospine Institute.
Most of us will experience some form of lower back pain in our lifetime. In fact, outside of the common cold, it's the most prevalent reason for missing work in the United States. Injuries and improper lifting can frequently cause lower back pain. But did you know that illness and infection can also cause moderate to severe discomfort? Many of the conditions can be diagnosed and treated with a visit to an orthopedic physician or pain management specialist. It's important to identify the cause of back pain before effectively treating the problem.
Are you living with chronic pain? The specialists at Neurospine Institute can diagnose the problem and develop a personalized treatment plan to address your symptoms. Their comprehensive services include clinical and surgical procedures, sports medicine, physical therapy, medical imaging, and pain management. Neurospine Institute's medical professionals will work closely with your primary care or referring physician to ensure that you receive the best care and treatment. They serve all of Western Oregon with 2 locations, the main campus in Eugene and their Roseburg clinic. Visit neurospinellc.com today and get your life back.
Today's top stories. In depth. This is the Wake Up Call on News Radio 1120 KPNW.
And good morning. This look at the news brought to you by Burrito Amigos, the friendly ones, featuring great breakfast burritos and fresh brewed locally roasted coffee for a tasty start to your morning. I'm Justin, and for Bill, here's what's going on. Florida-based call center Sykes has been in Eugene since 2013 and plans to close their location at Broadway and Charlton by the end of October. Up to 418 employees will be affected by the move. Wendy Summers, spokesperson for Sykes, said in a letter, quote, "We're notifying you now that you and your family may make the accommodations necessary to adjust the business change like this," unquote. The building's previous tenant was Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Wells Fargo has fired 5,300 employees for opening ghost accounts and credit cards for customers without their knowledge. Federal regulators say it's been happening since 2011. It was a way for employees to boost their sales figures by way of bank fees to earn more money. The firings were spread out over the last few years. Employees move funds from customers' existing accounts into newly created ones without their knowledge or consent. According to CNN Money, employees also submitted applications for 565,000 credit cards without their customers' knowledge. Roughly 14,000 of those accounts incurred over $400,000 in fees, including annual fees, interest charges, and overdraft protection fees. When the business energy tax credit was shut down in Oregon, many suspected there was fraud. Brad Ford says an independent audit answered that question.
Around $1 billion were spent under the Business Energy Tax Credit Program before it was shut down in 2014. $347 million in credits have questionable aspects.
More than 25% of the large projects had at least one of the indicators that there should be a concern and it should be looked into.
Oregon Secretary of State Gene Atkins says there is a wide variety of concerns.
Potentially conflicts of interest, projects that were never operational, a business that closed or went out of business.
Atkins' audit also makes recommendations to the state that would have prevented the potential fraud if more compliance officers were in place to monitor the projects. Brad Ford, KPNW.
After nearly 6 years of silence, Terry Horman, the stepmother of Kyron Horman, a little boy who went missing in Portland, will be on the Dr. Phil show. Horman's episode is expected to air next week. She was shown on a promotional commercial for the upcoming season of Dr. Phil, where he asked her why she lied to the media during the events that followed Kyron's disappearance. The investigation into his disappearance is still open, and no arrests have been made. An adult with Portland Public Schools in Multnomah County has tested positive for state action levels of lead. The test followed 2 false positives, but the individual is considered in a gray area. Perry Cabot with the County Health Department says many of the tests have been coming back with false positive results. Officials urging those who have been found to have elevated lead levels to see a healthcare provider for follow-up testing. Oregon Democratic Representative Earl Blumenauer and Republican Tim Murphy are introducing a bipartisan resolution to recognize September as National Suicide Prevention Month. Blumenauer says the resolution is something everyone in Congress should be able to support.
We lose 5 lives every hour to a cause that is treatable and preventable.
It's especially a big problem for veterans, and it's the second leading cause of death for people between 10 and 34. In most cases, people who commit suicide show symptoms that are recognizable and treatable. He says there needs to be more organizations like Oregon-based Lines for Life, which operates a 24-hour phone line for people in crisis. Jury selection is underway in the Mel Hour National Wildlife Refuge takeover. One of the lawyers was concerned about the message added security would send to the jurors. Security is very tight at the federal courthouse in Portland. Ammon Bundy's lawyer expressed concern to the judge that the heavier than normal security might send a message to jurors. Judge Anna Brown says she's been threatened and she wasn't going to second-guess the security measures being taken by the U.S. Marshals Service. Ammon Bundy, his brother Ryan, and 5 others are charged with conspiracy in the takeover of the Melhauer National Wildlife Refuge. Jury selection expected to be concluded by the end of the day today. With the new school year starting this week, the Oregon Department of Education released the results of 290,000 tests taken last year, and the state saw marked improvements in English language arts and math when it comes to Common Core. Online tests provide a snapshot for parents and teachers to help lead from grade to grade. And beyond high school, nearly 160,000 or 55% of students earned a 3 or 4 and are considered on track to be college and career ready in English language arts, and almost 119,000 or 42% earned a 3 or 4 in the math section. The football season at Philomath High School has been canceled. The school board met with parents and community members last night and decided to cancel football season in the wake of a hazing incident in July that involved 6 players and 1 assistant coach and 11 freshman victims. There's a plan to play 2 remaining JV games with the possibility of adding 1 more, but the varsity season will not be played. All football activities were stalled last month when information about the crimes at Camp Rylea in Clatsop County came to light. Once the Oregon State Police concluded its investigation, the school board decided to have outside experts observe practices last week to determine if there were enough players who could field a varsity team. The answer was no. There are 2 seniors who were not accused of any wrongdoing, and seniors are not eligible for JV play, but an exception may be made. There were several emotional speeches last night, including one from Melissa Muir, the wife of football coach Troy Muir. She said her husband did not know anything about the events at the camp and that those responsible took advantage of his trust. Oregon Senator Ron Wyden is sounding an alarm over a change in federal law that he says could open your computer to hacking. Brad Ford with the details.
Oregon Senator Ron Wyden says this type of change needs to be considered by Congress and not solely by the Justice Department.
Under this change, the government can search potentially millions of computers with one single warrant.
Wyden says they would do that with malware installed on computers. Republican Senator John Cornyn disagrees and says that it would not affect how evidence is gathered.
This has to do with what court you go to in order to get a court order.
Wyden says that if Congress does nothing by December 1st, the new rule takes effect. Cornyn says the rule has the support of the U.S. Supreme Court. Wyden wants open hearings on the change in Congress. Brad Ford, KPNW.
More than 125 animals are on their way to the Pacific Northwest after they were rescued from flooding in Louisiana. Thousands of pets were displaced after the devastating floods there. Wings of Rescue is flying animals whose owners made no attempt to claim them out of the area. Many of the animals were already in shelters before the flooding. The first flight of Oregon arrived in Hillsborough yesterday afternoon. The animals will be taken to the Oregon Humane Society, Oregon Friends of Shelter Animals, or Rogue Valley Humane Society in Oregon. And finally, September is National Preparedness Month, and the Eugene Water and Electric Board, along with the City of Eugene, want to help citizens prepare for earthquakes, forest fires, and other emergencies that could interrupt the delivery of drinking water. Joe Harwood from eWeb.
eWeb customers can now order 3-gallon BPA-free water storage containers at a discounted price. The reason we're doing that is because, storing an emergency supply of water along with food and other life-sustaining items is a critical component in any household emergency kit.
They can be ordered online at the eWeb website. The $5 charge per container will be applied to the customer's water bill when the containers are picked up in the first week of October. The autumn container distribution will take place Sunday, October 2nd through Wednesday, October 5th to allow multiple days for pickup. Springfield Utility Board and Rainbow Water District have ordered containers as well and are planning fall distributions on their end. This Look at the News has been brought to you by Burrito Amigos, the Friendly Ones. I'm Justin Phillips. You're up to date on News Radio 1120 KPNW.
Wake Up Call Sports on News Radio 1120 KPNW.
Eugene Adams are back in it after losing Game 1 in Hillsborough. They came back to win Game 2. Playoff action at PK last night, 6-2. Snapping a 4-game losing streak to the Hops. M's pitcher Pedro Severio threw 5 scoreless innings, 8 strikeouts, allowing only 2 hits. And to give credit to the over 4,000 fans that showed up to cheer on the M's. The deciding Game 3 tonight to see who takes on the winner of Spokane Everett. Super Bowl rematch, regular season kickoff for the NFL last night saw Trevor Siemian become somewhat of a rising star for the Denver Broncos. And Graham Gano, well, failed to be that hero for the Carolina Panthers. Siemian quarterbacked the Broncos through some mistakes and was good enough, going 18 of 26 for 178 yards, a touchdown despite 2 INTs. Gano had a chance to win it in the end, missing a 50-yard field goal. Lonely life for the kicker when you miss. Oregon football team in action at Autzen tomorrow night. They take on the mysterious Virginia Cavaliers with former OSU linebacker and BYU coach Bronco Mendenhall. The new coach out there at Virginia, Coach Mark Helfrich.
We're certainly going to talk about certain aspects of the opponent, schematically, all those things. But so much of this is us. And I know Virginia was saying the exact same thing. Richmond's a really good football team, extremely talented football team. Several transfers as well as guys that they recruited and are very good. And then Virginia turned the ball over and they took advantage of it.
Of course, Virginia was beaten by Richmond out of the FCS. Game time, by the way, 7:30 tomorrow on ESPN. By the way, a Duck of the Future, 6'4", 195-pound Colson Yankoff out of Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. First game, 434 yards through the air, 4 touchdowns, 4 on the ground. Still more than a year away from signing a national letter of intent, but he's committed to Oregon, and that's good. Former Oregon basketball players Brandon Austin, Dominic Artis, and Damian Dotson had their lawsuits against the U of O dismissed. All 3 expected to refile. Wake Up Call Sports brought to you by Max Muscle. Stop in and check out the new flavors of the Max Pro Protein Powder lineup, like orange and cookies and cream. Max Muscle in Eugene across Franklin for Market of Choice. News time, 8:21.
KPNW weather brought to you by Ramjack West. Do you have foundation problems? Ramjack can fix that. Get your free quote at ramjackwest.com.
Good morning. We've currently got mostly clear skies out there. A little bit of light patchy fog, but I expect that to burn off by about 10 a.m. Temps right now are on the cooler side, in the mid-40s to a couple of low 50s. Light winds out of the northwest at 5 to 10. We are tracking a couple of storm systems, but they don't have a chance to reach us until Saturday night into Sunday, and even then, all they're going to do is help knock the temps down. Now, this afternoon in the short term, high pressure looks to dominate over the Pacific Northwest, and that means temps are going to climb. We're looking at the mid to low 80s in most locations, around 82 here. In the afternoon, winds are going to pick up, though, to provide at least some relief out of the north at 10 to 20, with a few gusts up to 25. As I mentioned, that next system looks to move in late Saturday night into Sunday. Could bring a few sprinkles, but definitely knocks the temp down by 10 full degrees on your Sunday. So Saturday's the warm and sunny day. Sunday, a little bit of cloud, maybe a few sprinkles, and about 10 or 12 degrees cooler. I'm Chief Meteorologist Chris Nation, NBC 16 Weather Center, hoping you have a fantastic Friday and a great weekend.
When you need foundation repairs, turn to the foundation experts at Ramjack West. Get your free in-home evaluation at ramjackwest.com. Serving Oregon and Washington. Choose Ramjack. CCB 146906.
If you're going to snack, why not snack the healthy way? Max Muscle has a new snack aisle filled with healthy options like protein bars, protein muffins, chips, jerky. We even have protein pancake mix. Stop in and start snacking. Max Muscle, Franklin Boulevard, across from the Market of Choice.
I'm Isaac Jackson at Jackson Jones Law Office. At our office, we represent people who have lost everything because of someone else's bad judgment. When someone takes something close to you, your health or a loved one, the right lawyer can help you walk through the stress, get the medical bills paid, and if needed, stand up and fight on your behalf. Our philosophy is simple. We start by meeting with you to give you a straightforward assessment of your case. Once that's done, we'll talk about what it means to hire a lawyer, whether it makes sense to try to get a settlement without a lawsuit, or whether we think it will take a fight. Our office specializes in wrongful death cases, accidents involving drunk drivers, and victims in violent car accidents. We want to help you move on, but if we need to, we will stand up and we'll fight for you. Call me, Isaac Jackson, at 541-556-9797. Let's have a conversation. At Jackson Jones Law, we understand that everything can change in a second. If that's you, let us help you walk through this difficult time. Again, call me, Isaac Jackson, at 541-556-9797 at Jackson Jones Law.
Hi, this is Brian Sutherland, owner of Amco Transmissions in Springfield. For years, Amco in Springfield has been repairing your cars and trucks' most complicated system, the transmission. So it's no wonder people come to us with all sorts of problems. Don't take any chances. Bring your car to Amco in Springfield, We'll diagnose it right, repair it for a fair price, and back it with a nationwide warranty. Whether it's your car, truck, or motorhome, call Amco Springfield 541-726-6824 or find us on Facebook. That's AAMCO.
Even with the greatest real estate we've seen in a decade, do you realize that 20% of homes go pending and then fall out, which ends up netting you, the seller, less money? The reason? You hired the wrong real estate agent. If you want a great price and have a great experience, hire Harpole Homes with Keller Williams Realty.
Fact, not all agents are created equal. When you sell your house with Eric and Jeanette's team, you get thousands more dollars in your pocket. With the extra money the Harpoles net you, you can take a vacation, pay off debt, or put more down on your next home.
How did the Harpole Homes do it? Negotiating, marketing, and their exclusive certified pre-owned home program. When you hire Harpole Homes to sell your house, they pay for your home inspection up front to take care of the issues to ensure your home stays sold. It's one of 182 steps they follow to get your house sold for top dollar.
For your free information package or to schedule a free consultation, call them 541-286-3030 or check them out at harpolehomes.com. Sell your house this summer with Harpole Homes with Keller Williams Realty. 541-286-3030.
This is your wake-up call.
It's like no cheese I've ever tasted.
News Radio 1120, KPNW.
Return of the Quack, once again. Return of the Quack, come on.
Yeah, when we were planning the show earlier this morning, we were thinking, okay, we'll have a little Duckness of Greatness for you new to the show. Duckness of Greatness all season long, where we talk to former Ducks. And we're talking about football players, coaches. We've talked to some play-by-play announcers and kind of catch up and see what they're doing and what life was like back in the day when they couldn't really talk about things because they were like a highfalutin star. And now they can come clean with all the dirt. And that's what it is. Just kind of a washing of all the dirt. Waxing, throwing people under the bus. Not really. But we're open. Could happen. Chris Miller, the diva that he is, supposed to chat with him at this point, but now that he's big coach in the Portland area, I think he's probably getting his beauty rest. Yeah, call me. Yeah, we'll talk. We'll catch up. I see how it is. Of course, Chris Miller, his West Lynn Lions state championship game, I mean, they were looking like they were firing on all cylinders, and that game, a heartbreaker, losing to Jesuit by a touchdown. Pretty amazing. Pretty amazing season. And what he's done there in, 2 seasons before? Kind of hard to get people to come out for the program. And they're in the state championship. It's like, but if you maybe had a player at South Eugene a couple of years ago, Coach Miller gets results. Maybe we'll catch up with him at a different time. One thing I was going to ask him was basically what he thought the responsibility for the coach of a certain team is in thinking about Philomath. Justin and I have been kind of talking about this off the air. If you missed it, done. The football season, canceled. No more. And you sit there and you go, okay, there's 6, 7 maybe, a small number of people responsible, and there are some, there's some seniors, there's some other players out there that weren't responsible and didn't participate in the hazing behavior that went on that happened, that made this whole thing happen. And you're sitting there going, boy, they are just getting the raw. I mean, here you are. Go back when you were a senior, sophomore, junior, you played JV. You kind of live for the football. And there's some people, and I'm sure you had players or, friends of yours that weren't really into school. Maybe it was you, and you used athletics or theater or music or something to kind of hook you and get you interested in going to school. But you worked so hard all through your career, and it really is a career. All of a sudden, big moment in the sun, you're going to be the big senior, walking around with your Letterman's jacket. I know you did, Justin.
Oh, yeah.
You let it in what, debate?
I was more of a yearbook putter together kind of creative.
So you're putting the stars and cheerleaders. And,
exactly. So
So, but you're walking around and thinking, this is going to be my year. This is going to be awesome. Not to be. And you sit there and you go, you hope for the people that had no participation can find something to kind of fill that void. I mean, I don't know if having the seniors play JV is the answer, because I could see
it's a possibility
that raises a whole bunch of risk and liability right there. Yeah, there are no answers. And when Bill went to the school board meeting, he was pretty confident. He said they were doing all the right things. They were saying all the right things and asking the right questions, and this is what they came up with. I know you're not going to get an answer where everybody is going to be happy, but just taking the whole conversation aside and just thinking about the kids, the young men that were playing football that, like I said, had no participation, heartbreaking.
Well, I mean, at this point, even the head coach was blindsided by it. He had no knowledge of it. So that got pretty emotional in the meeting they had last night.
And I was going to ask Chris, like how much do you hold? I mean, because you look at collegiate programs where look at Louisville, where they had the situation with the recruits, and and people are saying, well, the head coach has to know. Different situation, different size of organization. But in this situation, I mean, how really? And we're talking as somebody outside the organization. If you're a parent, and Bill lives near the Philomath area, so he's going to be a little bit more absorbed and participatory in that conversation. But how much do you put on a coach? I mean, you can't be all things everywhere.
No.
You can't be all. I mean, you want to think that you put people that you can trust, and that you can kind of put a little bit of that assistant hat on and go, okay, you are representing the program. Yeah, it's definitely probably a conversation that they're having in Philomath that they never thought they would have. And if anything is good out of it, the bright spot is that you hope that there are other coaches, athletic directors, heck, even athletes that are kind of aware of what happened and that they're not playing football. I mean, there was a potential 4 or 5 game season. Now, nothing. They're not going to play football at Philomath High. So not only are you affecting that crew, but you're affecting all the teams that they played. I mean, from what Bill said, it's Friday Night Lights. People in that community come out there, even if they don't have kids on the team, come out to watch.
I mean, it's similar in Springfield. It's Silky. I mean, they're 4 blocks from our house, and you can hear the band when they have home games. You can hear the cheer of the crowd. You can hear the PA guy. So I mean, it's a similar situation where the community just, that's what you do on a Friday night.
Yeah, just hopefully out of this whole thing, people kind of realize, okay, I need to be accountable. Yeah. There are situations, I'm sure, of things like this happening where people didn't get caught. And hopefully this is a learning process for everybody, and that everybody has that conversation. Hey, look what happened here. We don't want that, right? And get a commitment of accountability from everybody. Everybody. And it kind of sucks that you have to put that on the, into the coaching staff. But when you got kids that are kids that are 21, 22, 23, 24.
High school, they're even younger. So, I mean, it's.
For coaches is what I'm talking about.
For coaches, yeah.
Yeah. 8:33, News Radio 1120 KPNW. Coming up, as I talked about at the outset of the hour, our signature event for March of Dimes. We're going to experience another restaurant, another star who's going to be there preparing food for you. And hopefully you're going to be there. If you've not been to one of these events, you're missing out. It is one of the core events of the year. and it just so happens to be for the babies and for kids. So kind of a win-win. That's coming up next on 1120 KPNW 834. Good morning from the Wake Up Call.
The Bloomberg Market Report, sponsored by Pacific Continental Bank, serving your business and community in Eugene for over 40 years.
This is a Bloomberg Market Minute. Stocks are sliding after Federal Reserve officials signal more willingness to raise interest rates. Meantime, MGM will suffer a major setback as Ben-Hur becomes one of this year's biggest box office bombs. The studio put up more than 80% of the budget for the film, which could lose $120 million or more. That's according to The Hollywood Reporter. MGM expects a 10% drop in earnings this year. Apple announced the iPhone 7 with much fanfare this week, but says it won't be doing the same with opening weekend sales numbers. By not releasing the numbers, Apple is holding back a key metric used by some investors to gauge the success of an iPhone launch. The Caribbean is running short of one of its best-known products, and that's coconuts. They're in high demand. Starbucks uses coconut milk for lattes. It's used in sports drinks, and the price of coconut oil has jumped more than 50% in the past year. Storms, droughts, and yellowing disease have wiped out entire coconut farms. Courtney Donahoe, Bloomberg Radio.
Shift into savings at your local Kubota dealer. Right now, you can get the Subcompact BX and the Compact B or L Series or the bigger MX Special Utility Tractor with a low down payment, 0% APR for 84 months, and a full 6-year limited powertrain warranty. See your participating Kubota dealer by December 31st. Now through December 31st, 2016. Call toll-free 1-800-794-4992 for details about costs and terms. See Mid-Valley Tractor, locally owned for 30 years, just a mile and a half past the Beltline on Highway 99.
Hi, I'm Eric Benson, General Sales Manager at Sutton RV, and I only come on the radio when something truly awesome is happening at the store, which is right now. George and Martha are traveling a bit, leaving, well, me in charge. So I'm doing some incredible deals. Cue the music! Like a 2017 Wildcat Max 255 RLX, stock number 4824. Year-round camping made possible featuring best-in-class insulation. Stay cozy warm while taking in the beauty that fall and winter camping has to offer. Spacious floor plan, rugged luxury, built right here in Oregon. And now you can get this Wildcat for a low $25,999 with zero down and just $199 a month at 4.49% financing for 15 years on approved credit at Northwest Community Credit Union. There are lots of other special deals just waiting for you. Now more than ever, you need to start with a stop at Sutton RV. Come see us in Eugene today and see how much you can save while I still have the keys to the store.
There's only one place to go for all the leading power sports brands under one roof.
Ramsey Weight Superstore.
Honda, Kawasaki, Yamaha.
Think Ramsey Weight.
Suzuki, Polaris, John Deere.
Save time and money. Make the side-by-side comparison. Only at Ramsey Weight. Don't just dream about it. Wait for it.
Ramsey Weight Superstore, Franklin Boulevard, Glenwood.
Want to see what you'd look like if you had a flatter belly? Now's your chance, because for a limited time, we're giving away free trials of Somabiotics, the new discovery that flattens bloated bellies fast. But hurry and call now while we're still giving it away for free. 1-800-600-9425. Strict limit of one free trial per household. These free trials are reserved for anyone, male or female, who's looking for maximum belly flattening in minimum time. Somabiotics is scientifically formulated with natural ingredients to flatten bloated bellies fast by cleansing pounds of rotting food and toxic sludge from your body. It even combats periodic heartburn and acid reflux. So just think how much better you'll look and feel. Want to see what you'd look like with a flatter belly? Now's your chance. But hurry, call now for details while we're still giving these trials of Somabiotics away for free. 1-800-600-9425. That's 1-800-600-9425. If lines are busy, try again. 1-800-600-9425.
KPNW weather brought to you by Ramjack West. Do you have foundation problems? Ramjack can fix that. Get your free quote at ramjackwest.com.
Good morning to you and yours. If you're headed out that door in the next few minutes or you're already out and about, we do have mostly clear skies. There is some light hazy fog off and on out there. Temps right now on the cooler side. the upper 40s to low 50s with light winds out of the northwest at 5 to 10. This afternoon, high pressure looks to dominate across the region. That means mostly sunny skies. The light haze will burn off by about 10 a.m. This afternoon, temps are going to climb again, and in the mid to low 80s, going up another few degrees from yesterday. About 82 here in town. Winds will pick up in the afternoon due to a tight pressure gradient at 10 to 20 with a few gusts up to 25. The sunny, warm weather looks to last right into the weekend before the next weak cold front and mild storm system pushes in Saturday night into your Sunday morning. I'm Chief Meteorologist Chris Nation, the NBC 16 Weather Center, hoping you have a fantastic day.
The Wake Up Call.
To be honest, I've never seen such dysfunction.
With Holloway in London. On News Radio 1120, KPNW.
Come on. 8:39 News Radio 1120 KPNW. I'm beginning to think it's somehow by design that Justin is somehow getting Bill out of the studio so you can work on Fridays, because you get to be a part of a Foodie Friday, man.
And this is like a bonus Foodie Friday, because not only is there food, I assume, but there's drink too.
Well, there's food in the beverage.
Yes, yeah, that's where the nutrition comes in.
From Southern Wine and Spirits, one of the great parts of the Signature Chefs event for March of Dimes. Valley River Inn, October 11th, is Colleen making her return trip. And you come bearing part of your team, so go ahead and introduce who you got.
I am so blessed to have my work husband, Curly,
Howdy.
who's been with me, I think, every time I've done this, or at least maybe most times.
Yep.
And then our #1 sales rep in the world for our Southern Wine and Spirits, Cameron, who's visiting us from Bend today.
Good morning.
She's going to answer all the hard questions I don't know the answers to.
From Bend?
Yeah, she's
okay.
visiting from Bend. We have a meeting today with Gallo at kickoff with Hop Valley, at Hop Valley, our beer sponsor, which is how we're starting our day with a little red beer. Go Hop.
Go Hop.
Best brewery in Oregon. And we have a kickoff there with Gallo at 11 o'clock today, and that's how we're actually starting our March of Dimes event this year. With Gallo, again with Wycliffe. We always start with some bubbles, and we're going to do it again this year.
Nothing says celebration like a little bubbles, right? Am I right?
Every day is a celebration, right? We should have bubbles every day.
Every day should begin with bubbles.
Every
That's
day
right.
should begin with bubbles. We're going to do bubbles next.
Do you do anything like that in Bend, Karen? Do you guys have any event like this out there, like this
We do.
event?
Amy?
They have our other special event called High Heels.
Are you
for
talking
High
into a
Hopes.
microphone?
Oh, sorry. Yes, they have our other special event called High Heels for High Hopes that'll take place November 17th.
Oh.
And so
Karen's going to model.
Yes. Let's get her signed up.
I know.
Love high heels.
She's hot.
Yes. She can walk that runway, strut, and raise funds for healthy babies. That's the annual special event we have in Bend.
So basically what it comes down to is Southern Wine and Spirits is a do-gooder organization. You guys like to do good things. Why is it so important for you to be a part of this event, Colleen?
Well, is this year 5, Aim?
It's our sixth year.
Okay, so 6 years now we've been involved, and Southern is very into supporting the community, and it's just something that we've taken under our wings. And you know, we definitely participate in a lot of things for the community, but March of Dimes has been our favorite go-to.
But why, okay, so you talk about the community, and that encompasses a lot of organizations, a lot of causes,
Absolutely.
a lot of campaigns. But why in particular March of Dimes?
It's all for the babies.
You know, it's all for the babies. I don't know. Amy and Tab walked into a restaurant, Willie's. It's now Willie's, for me. And they were looking for a wine sponsor, and I said, oh, I can help you out there. And the supporters that I get from my suppliers, or the support I get from my suppliers is amazing. And all I have to do is say, hey, guys, it's me again. March of Dimes is coming. And they're like, whatever you want, Colleen. And we have, didn't you say we were the #1 wine sponsor in the nation, or
In the world.
in the total world.
In the
Let's go
galaxy.
big or go home. Let's move to bubbles, shall we? Anyway, I think it's just been a really fun event, and we pair with chefs, which makes it up our alley, because we all do on premise here, this team for Southern Wine and Spirits. So we like to pair the wine with the food, and that way we know what the chef is preparing, and we pair a special wine, and so it's an experience for the customers that come to the event.
I know for me personally, for many years, done a lot of events for kids based organizations, and you say for the babies and for the kids, and then you have one, or your significant other has one, and you're a part of the the whole process, and it changes that whole when you say that for the kids, because all of a sudden you're like, that's not like
Okay,
that's not just a word. That
No.
is a miracle right there.
And you always say that to people, wait till you have your own baby.
Right.
And every year when the testimony happens, I sob like a big baby. At the table, I'm crying like a big baby. Because it's so, you've been a part of it, and it just makes it so much more important to know what March of Dimes does and to be a part of helping support that event.
Well, overall, I mean, I can't, we had maybe a little minor snafu, just itty bitty. When you look at what people actually went through, you want them to go through the same thing that you did, where it's just all amazing. It's just one thing incredible, and some people are in the hospital for weeks and weeks and weeks and months, and you're like, oh my God, but you know what?
Count your blessings, right?
They're walking out with a baby
I know,
into that
it's
stay.
amazing.
Babies need to come into this world healthy, and that's what the March of Dimes is working to do.
What do you got? What currently, Amy, Corey, is going on right now that you know that you can verse about?
We've launched 5 prematurity research centers, bringing the greatest minds together. Bring the greatest minds together, focusing on why, in half of the cases of premature birth, we don't know what causes that woman to go into preterm labor, and they're really trying to focus on those 50% cases and figuring out what's causing it and how can we work to reduce. They're looking at the gap between pregnancies. They're looking at all different transdisciplinaries.
What was the last word you said?
It was a really big word.
Yeah. It's a tough one for
That's
me.
like a 50-cent word right there. Look at that.
That red beer and the bubbles.
We'll try it after the bubbles.
Yeah.
But the great thing about this night is that you can go there, have food, socialize, maybe have a glass of wine or 4, and you're helping kind of move that research along.
Yeah.
It's a win-win situation. And out of curiosity, what about I know that you've had this question, Amy, about tax deductions and things like that.
So, a flat donation, when our testimonial gets up and speaks and our mission family speaks, a flat donation is 100% tax deductible. And then as far as the night of, we have an auction, so it's, whatever you donate over the value of the auction package, of course,
right.
When it comes to taxes. But it is a very, very fun event. If you want some yummy food and some wonderful wines, some great beer, it's the event to come to October 11th. I'm
going to put you on both on the spotlight pedestal here. No pressure. When you think about the food from last year, if you can go back to, is there anything that stands out, or a restaurant that was like blowing it out?
I'm going to have to turn over to you guys because I actually don't get a chance to eat it.
I just drank. I'm just kidding. I had all the food. You know what? They were all so good. We had that mac and cheese and
the salmon cakes from Sweetwater's that Ray was here last
those
week.
were really
his
good.
salmon cakes were very good. And yes, the mac and cheese from Chow was
Talk about so all the chefs, in addition to, just putting it on, they also have these packages, the date packages. Amy, talk about, the production that goes in behind the scenes.
Well, so far we're looking at several large packages. One of them will be Zingaro will be doing a wine pairing package for 30. It's a wine pairing dinner at Bennett Vineyards. There'll also Francine from Sporks a la carte will be doing a sushi making class for 20 people plus.
And that is your winner of the chef competition from last year.
From last year, yes.
Are we doing the sake for that, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Colleen helps us out with some great pairings with our packages as well.
What a great gig.
It was so fun.
Yeah, very cool. And as far as tickets, last week when we talked about the availability, we were kind of coming down to the last couple of tables.
Yes, we just have 4 more tables to go. So that means 40 seats, if I'm calculating right off the top of my head. So yeah, they're going quickly, and our volunteer leadership committee is doing a big push this week to sell tables, and so we hope to be sold out by the end of the day. I would love.
Can you all believe that it's almost a month away?
No.
No.
comes so quickly.
I mean, I sit there and I look at the calendar. I'm thinking, wait, we have like 4 months, right? 3-4 months? No, we got like 4 weeks.
Good thing I got the wine procurement done.
At least somebody's doing their job. Curly, you haven't chimed in. What do you got about now?
Had great time this morning sending my kid off to school, and we got to sit there and wait for the bus, and we talked about how I was coming to come down here and talk on the radio and how we were going to promote this fundraiser to save the babies.
So what grade is your kid going into?
Kindergarten. Yeah.
That's big. Dun, dun, dun.
He was very, very anxious about getting out of the house because he didn't want to miss riding the bus to school.
Wow.
My daughter's starting first grade this year, and I asked her on Monday. She started Tuesday. It was her first day. If she was excited,
No.
Yeah. As they get older, they're less and less excited. But the
1
first
year separated. First year, I mean, Rob's told me stories, about excitement, and she's excited. Now she's excited that she's into it. So
very nice.
The fact that
it's
he
cool.
liked
It's good.
going to the bus, that's not going to last long.
No.
No, but I'll take it for now.
Absolutely.
But just the
Might
pure
last about a
excitement
year.
on his face.
Sydney was bummed out that they didn't get homework the first day. That's going to be in like 2-3 years. I'm going to play that back and like, remember when you wanted homework?
Yeah, you should video that.
Yeah, my
Incredible
daughter's in
experience.
3rd grade and loves the homework. So excited the school
Still?
started again. Oh, absolutely.
That's good.
All in, yeah.
What's the secret?
Karen.
I don't know.
Wait till she gets to like 10th,
and
11th
Daddy.
grade.
Yeah.
Won't be liking the homework so much, right?
You know, replay that like Rob said.
Yeah, it's all about the kids, and the great thing about it is that you'll get a celebration as far as the food and things like that, but you also get an education. Amy, talk about, if you could, maybe if you don't know exactly what's going to be talked about, just the whole testimonial idea, because these families get up there and really open up their hearts.
Yeah, we actually have a mission family that has been supporting Signature Chef's High Heels as well as March for Babies. They have been touched by premature birth in their first pregnancy, and just recently in their second pregnancy had things were going well, and out of nowhere she went into labor and had her second premature baby. So just in July. So they're going to come back and talk about their experience and how surfactant. Her little girl is still here with us today because of surfactant therapy, which was developed through March Times research dollars.
One thing, I don't know if you have found this to be the case, but when you talk to these, especially the moms who are intimately, just so core on everything that they almost start talking like doctors. The words, the education that they get and the words that they're talking about as far as, the equipment and the drugs and the medication. It's really incredible. And the people that we have met, even after weeks and weeks and weeks and hours of being in this small little, hospital room, yet they have these amazing, positive outlooks, and you're looking and well, how can they not be positive? You're looking at this little itty bitty that is just, keeping you going each and every day.
They give a lot of hope.
Yes.
March Times is awesome.
Thank you. And, I don't know if you recall the mission family that joined us last year, Baby Phoenix. He was adorable. And I just heard they have since then relocated, but I just heard from him, and they just had a second little one, full term, healthy. And so you have those wonderful stories of a second baby, being full term and healthy. And I think, part of it is, they know the signs of preterm labor. They know what's coming up. I always think back to my first pregnancy. Did I really know when I was going into labor? No. I think our education out there about the signs of preterm labor is, you see it a lot more. More women know when they start to go into labor. They start to know the signs, and so when it starts to come early, they are able to get right to the physician.
That's going to be so nerve-wracking to have gone through, like, say, your first baby and having that baby be prematurely born, and then having a second. I would think the stress.
Stop it.
Yeah. Wow. All right. What? Any news out of your tank over there? What's going on? Anything we need to know about? Any major news? Any announcements?
One of the great things is we've had more donations than we expected, so the wine wall is going to be quite, as my son likes to say, epic. So one of the the few ways that we're able to contribute to this great fundraiser and help raise money is the wine wall. And there will be some spectacular wine there, and it'll just be a great event.
The nice thing is the wine wall, you can buy the wine there and actually take to your table and enjoy it that evening.
That night.
Yeah.
Is it a situation where if somebody out there has maybe a great bottle of wine that they'd like to contribute or donate?
Absolutely.
Yes. Anybody out in the community that wants to donate to this cause, we can put it in the wine wall, and I'll just make the wine wall even better.
Bigger and better, that's what it's all about. Karen, how about something else from you before you take off?
I'm happy to be having bubbles this morning with all of you and be here in this beautiful town.
And how about a haiku?
Oh, my.
Haiku or maybe a little poem?
Oh, my goodness.
Not enough bubbles?
No.
Not enough bubbles. Totally.
Give us
The
5
inspiration hasn't quite got there yet.
Amy, how about you? How about a note of encouragement from March of Dimes?
So we hope to see lots of community members on October 11th, and our goal is to raise $100,000. So we're putting together some wonderful auction packages. Our wine wall sells out every year, we're looking. It's going to be some great things that night, and we're excited.
Very
Just
cool.
come
And that's
hungry.
going to be October 11th, Valley River Inn, like the dining event of the year, and it's going to help the baby. So it's kind of a win-win situation. Thank you for everything that you do, because not only do you come on the show and talk about it, but all the things that you do behind the scenes. Collie and Curly, thumbs up.
Love it. Thank you. We love doing it.
Always.
Southern Wine and Spirits. Amy, how about the website?
www.signatureschefs.org/Lane County.
It's way too long.
I know.
And that's where you live,
I know.
Lane County. In case you need to
Just
be.
call me.
There you go. And Amy's number is
541-686-2170.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Justin, thank you for filling in for
guys.
Bill.
Cheers. Have a great day, everybody.
Go Ducks, and we'll see you. By the way, do you want to give a
Go Cats.
little lashing to Chris Miller?
Oh, Chris, you were supposed to be on the air this morning. What the heck? Last year we did this. Call us up.
Were you in the same day we talked to him?
Yeah.
See, it's a tradition, and he
know.
ruined it.
He blew it.
Ruined it.
He blew it. C-Mail, get on the phone.
No bubbles.
And just because we'll get email.
No bubbles for you.
Cats. We want to clarify the Cats.
Cats. Linfield Cats.
Okay.
Wildcat.
Yeah.
First home game tomorrow.
Not the Wildcats of Arizona, just so you know.
No.
I just want to
Linfield.
clarify.
Linfield.
Kind of vague
Olean's
there.
Twin Boys.
All right. Have a great weekend, everybody. Enjoy the heat.
Go babies.
It's fall. That can mean football weather or a blazing heat wave, depending on what Mother Nature has in mind. Don't sweat Mother Nature's moodiness. Talk to the home comfort specialists at Beamer Heating and Sheet Metal for help. They have advanced heating and cooling systems from Lennox that can keep your home perfectly comfortable, no matter what's going on outside. And right now, Beamer Heating and Sheet Metal is offering up to a $1,600 rebate and 9.99% financing on a qualifying new Lennox system. That's up to a $1,600 rebate on an innovative, highly efficient heating and cooling system that can put you in control of your home comfort and your monthly utility bills. So seize the day. Call the experts at Beamer Heating and Sheet Metal right now at 541-688-5004. That's 541-688-5004. Or visit them online at beamerheating.com. License number 4483.
Did you know that a dirty CPAP system can make you sick? If you knew what could be growing in your mask and hose, you might not sleep so well. But now, SoClean.com has released the world's first and only automated CPAP cleaner and sanitizer. It kills 99.9% of all CPAP germs, and it's completely hands-free. For a limited time, you can try SoClean risk-free for 30 days. Just call 1-800-500-8108.
SoClean changed the CPAP experience for the better. My health has improved. It's simple to use, and I'm not worried about infections.
SoClean destroys CPAP bacteria, viruses, and germs, and it eliminates the daily hassle of washing your system by hand. There's no water, chemicals, or disassembly. Just pop in your mask, close the lid, and presto! Your CPAP system is clean and fresh in minutes. Call SoClean.com to try it risk-free at home for 30 days. This is a limited time offer, only available by calling 1-800-500-8108. That's 1-800-500-8108.
Teresa Carrier from Carrier RV Service in Eugene talks about RV repair and maintenance.
It's that time of the year when people are on the road in their RV and something goes wrong, whether it's air conditioning related or maybe your refrigerator stops working. Water leaks, roof maintenance, Carrier RV Center can get you back on the road safe and sound.
Carrier RV Service and Repair is all about satisfied customers.
We're at Highway 99 and Airport Road, the second drive